What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
14BH. Chapter 351EH. Can I manipulate sand too? 2 more. Advertisement. Since the Warring States period, Shaman has been a ninja active in the ninja world. The strong men he has seen are countless. But he has not only never seen a character like Hefeng, but he has never even heard of it. If it hadn't been for condensing the sand into armor beforehand and putting it on himself, it would have played a defensive effect. The spiral pill just now might not be able to severely injure his internal organs and 6 lungs. Yes it is. As the second generation of Mu Fengying who will be famous in the ninja world in the future, Shaman has not only developed puppetry. Based on Aikyo Morizuru's power, he developed a ninjutsu that manipulates sand. Gaara, and the ninjutsu of the 4 generations of Kazekage Luasha. All are inherited from Shaman. I saw him pressing his hands on the ground, supporting the weight of his body, slowly getting up, and breathing heavily. Fengying's eyes condensed slightly, and he saw the agglomeration formed by the sand, peeling off from him little by little. Sand armor. Fengying clone muttered to himself. As a traveler, he naturally knows what kind of characters will be born in Cheyenne Village in the future. For Gaara's skills, growth, all know the roots. Seeing Shaman's performance now naturally connects him with Gaara, the 5th-generation Wind Shadow. However, from a chronological point of view, who is the ancestor of sand manipulation? Nature is self-evident. Puppetry can easily control puppets and corpses in battle. It can not only replace and confuse opponents, but also has powerful destructive power. The only limitation is that in pursuit of attacks, the puppet masters who use the puppet technique often don't have enough self-protection ability. Fengying Avatar thought to himself. Kanjuro, needless to say with Chio's mother-in-law. Rao is the genius puppet master of the Red Sand Scorpion, and it is difficult for him to break this limitation. Only Salmon. On the basis of puppetry, he developed a ninjutsu that can manipulate sand. Similar to magnetic escape, but slightly different from magnetic escape. Normally, the magnetic escape of the blood succession boundary should belong to the 3rd generation of Fengying, the kind of sand iron control, or the 4th generation of Fengying Luasha's placer gold. And the 2nd generation Fengying sand gate, and the 5th generation Fengying Gaara. They belong to the same kind. It is a magnetic escape based on the power of the tail beast. Even though the 4th Ninja Wars mentioned, Gaara's power did not come from the tail beast, but his mother. But from Hefeng's point of view, Gaara's mother should have mastered the ability to manipulate sand through the inheritance left by Shaman. Advertisement. Then he passed this ability to Gaara. Of course, these are all personal guesses of Hefeng. As for what the truth is, then the benevolent sees the benevolent and the wise sees the wisdom. The top priority is how to solve the opponent in front of you. What a tricky ability. Fengying Avatar couldn't help but sigh with emotion. When Sandman stood up from the ground again, a steady stream of sand flew from the ground, filling the armor of sand on his body. If 2 or 3 can't breathe, Salmon returns to the original condition. He raised his hands and felt the new texture of the armor. Especially in such hot weather, it will make him feel a stuffy feeling. But I have to say that the defense of the sand armor is perfect. Rao Shi Hefengying's Helix Maru completely resisted it. Shaman didn't get any harm. And the General Kanai, it is difficult to have any effect on him. You are really strong and gentle. Shaman praised Fengying Avatar. Among the ninjas I have seen, there has never been a child like you. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Even the 3 generations of Fengying who have been given high hopes, in the eyes of Shaman, cannot be compared with the current piece. The 2 sides are not at the same level at all. But it is precisely because of this that Shaman made up his mind. In any case, he must be here to completely solve the piece. In an instant, Shaman raised his hands again. His eyes became sharp, and a majestic murderous aura radiated from all over his body, crushing towards Fengying's clone. In the next second, sand shinobi that surrounded Fengying's avatar suddenly unfolded and formed, took out the big knife from her body, and slashed at Fengying's avatar. However, Shaman is not a puppet that uses 2 hands to manipulate. Although he was considered the ancestor of the puppet master, he was much more senior than Kanjuro. With just 1 finger, you can easily control a puppet to start operations. The reason why he raised both hands was just to release ninjutsu while manipulating the puppet. Sand bondage. I saw that the ground under Fengying's avatar suddenly emerged from 2 palms of sand condensed, firmly grasping his ankle, and entwining it at a speed visible to the naked eye. Fengying's avatar was firmly nailed to the ground to prevent him from escaping. Okay. As soon as Fengying wanted to jump away, he realized that his feet seemed to be rooted on the ground. He lowered his head subconsciously and saw Shaman's ninjutsu. Really? Advertisement. Samon, this guy not only mastered puppetry, but also Gaara's abilities. No, it should be said that he is the ancestor. In the eyes of Fengying Avatar. Shaman today is simply Kanjuro. Do not, even if Kanjuro is on the blog. No, even in the 4th Ninja World War, he is still a rookie. If it wasn't for the scorpion of red sand, there wasn't a puppet in his hand. What opportunity does he have to talk about? Even if Shaman is not as good as the scorpion of red sand, he is at least at the level of a 1000-generation grandmother. In other words, I'm equivalent to fighting against a 1000-generation mother-in-law and Gaara at the same time. In that case, Lei Dun Chakra mode. Seeing that he couldn't escape Shaman's ninjutsu, Fengying Avatar immediately used Thunder Escape. Form the armor of thunder. In any case, this trick can be regarded as an absolute defense to some extent. But these sands are really annoying. Okay, it's impossible for a master like Shaman to release the water in this situation. Even Hefeng's avatar could not help being taken aback. Let Hefeng clone have a chance to get rid of it. How could Hefeng, an 8-year-old kid, manipulate Tsunade's ninjutsu? I really don't understand how he escaped just now. Do not. This ninjutsu was developed by himself, even the first generation Feng didn't know it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. But anyway, considering that the puppet rushed towards him. As soon as this idea came up, Shaman shook his head abruptly. Is it possible that the little devil, Hefeng, can also control sand? Shaman's eyes widened, and he stared at Hefeng dumbfounded. Hefeng's avatar is still at the fastest speed, and then withdraws to 8 meters. I watched the two puppets collide together, and the strong impact caused the two of them to disintegrate directly and scatter to the ground. Absolutely impossible. However, just when Hefeng's avatar couldn't help complaining about these sands, the sands suddenly loosened their ankles under his thoughts. He obviously didn't let go of his ankle. Advertisement. Chapter 352 The Art of False Sleep. One more. Advertisement. This is. Hefeng's avatar looked down at the ninjutsu he had performed, and suddenly found that under the yellow sand, there was gleaming gold. Moreover, it seems that he can separate the gold from the sand through his mind. Magnetic escape placer gold. As a traverser, Hefeng's avatar immediately realized what was going on. I have mastered it. It should be the ability of the 4th generation of Feng Luosha. Although this sounds incredible, it is not impossible for an ontology with a clock-in system. Yes, it is. Nothing is impossible for Zephyr, who has a punch card system. I understand. After thinking about it, Hefeng's avatar suddenly realized and figured out what was going on. If I didn't guess wrong, just now, my ontology should have completed a new check-in link. Then from the punch-in package, I got the reward of magnetic escape dust. Hefeng's avatar thought to himself. The thunder armor formed by the thunder escape chakra pattern. The armor of sand made of magnetic escape and agglomerated gold dust. As well as Susanoo's chakra's armor. The current self is really an absolute defense. I won't lose. For a time, Hefeng's avatar was soaring, and he decided to solve the 2nd generation Feng sand gate here. Elimination once and for all can threaten the enemies of Konoha hidden village. And Shaman also noticed this subtlety. This is impossible. For a while, Shaman felt his brain was blank, and instinctively resisted this fact, but the facts before his eyes are invulnerable proof. Hefeng, the kid, really mastered the ninjutsu he developed. Are you writing round eyes? Soon, Shaman connected Shaolun Yan with this incident. Next second, he finally eased some of his emotions and exploded again. Both eyes were as big as bull's eyes, staring at Hefeng's avatar, his eyes full of disbelief. Why, Hefeng, this little devil, will have a writing wheel. Advertisement. Isn't he the grandson of Senjujuma? Are you not from the Thousand Hands clan? And writing round eyes, but the pupil technique unique to the Uchiha clan. Just like the wood escape technique, it's all blood succession bounded, and it can only be inherited through genetics, and it can't be learned. What is going on here? For a while, Shaman was puzzled. However, the current situation did not give him much time to think. I saw a steady stream of dust bursting from the feet of Hefeng's avatar, spreading out to both sides. Suddenly the puppet rushing towards him was entangled. Not only blocked the movement of these puppets, but also the dust particles penetrated into the joints of the puppets. Destroy all the organs that Shaman carefully designed. It is no exaggeration to say that the current Hefeng clone is the natural enemy of the puppet master. Blessing. Sweat began to appear on Shaman's forehead, and his teeth clenched together. He originally thought that it was his luck to meet the gentle breeze in such a place. But now it seems that wanting to eliminate Hefeng is not as simple as I thought. His talents far exceeded his expectations. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Do not. This is already unbelievable and incredible. The puppets carefully designed by himself were all destroyed by the gentle wind. This kid actually gave all my puppets. And also mastered the ninjutsu I developed. If you don't take advantage of the power of a crane, Shaman even feels that he might lose. And he has never been the kind of character with a slant sword. Moreover, the reason why he chose to take his share of the blessing and rush to the battlefield is to use the power of a show crane to win the war. Right now, it's time for Konoha Ninja to see the results of his own research. Part of the blessing. Hefeng's avatar heard the words and turned and glanced at Ren Zuli in Cheyenne village. Before the emergence of Sand Gate, Ichi-tailed show crane has been sealed in the temple of Cheyenne village. It wasn't until Fenfu appeared that Shaman transferred Shohei into his body. It can be said that since birth, Fenfu was imprisoned because of Ren Zuli's identity. At the same time, he is also the predecessor of Gaara, Zuli. On the palm of the hand are written the words, Shin, and Sho. Together, it becomes love. Advertisement. It was the text that was later engraved on Gaara's forehead. Moreover, Fenfu firmly believes that there is no difference between human beings and tail beasts as long as they truly accept each other. In his later years, he became a spiritual friend with Shuhei. With his clear mind, Shuhei once praised him for having qualities similar to those of the 6 Tao immortals. To some extent, sharing blessing is also a kind of perfect human pillar power. However, it is a pity that Cheyenne village did not accept his existence until the end of his life. Just treat him as a kind of container. Except when the war broke out, Fenfu has been imprisoned. Over time, no one even remembered his real name. He is a rather sad character. But no matter how you say it, the current share of blessings is quite powerful. Moreover, the current share of blessings is at the time of youth, and the mentality is not compared with that of old age. After hearing Shaman's order, he nodded without saying anything, and decisively resorted to the technique of false sleepiness. Want to release the tail beast in the body. Shaman's eyes narrowed slightly, and he said without thinking, I originally planned to go to Muyein village, and then release this power. In any case, Kazuo Morizuru is a killer. They don't want to be discovered by Konoha ninja in advance. But now it is also helpless. Shaman not only underestimated the strength of Hefeng, but also overestimated his own puppetry and magnetic escape. Unexpectedly, after a fight, he couldn't solve the piece at all. And, this is just a shadow of Hefeng. If Shaman knew that Hefeng's body was not here, his mentality would not completely collapse. The art of false sleep. Accompanied by the technique of splitting blessings, he hypnotized himself highly, and let himself fall asleep if he couldn't breathe 2 or 3. Immediately afterwards, a majestic chakra burst out. Different from Gaara, although Fenfu has always been imprisoned, Shaman is far less perverted than Luasha. In order to confirm what talents, a lot of unnecessary things were made. Based on this kind of relationship, the phony method of sharing blessings is far more perfect than Gaara. The yellow sand soared into the sky, stirring up the air, forming a terrifying air current, spreading out in all directions. Sarutobi Hizen made a defensive action for the first time, but still underestimated the power of the impact. His feet instantly left the ground, and the whole person flew out on the spot like a kite with a broken line. Tumbled in the air for several consecutive laps before falling heavily to the ground. Hefeng Ying's avatar was also attracted by Shuhei's body, and couldn't help rolling his throat, one-tailed Shuhei. Chapter 353 What are you worried about? 2 more. Advertisement. Ah ha 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 ha. I saw the yellow sand soaring into the sky, forming the outline of a giant monster, and the strange and excited laughter spread out to the surroundings. Instantly caught everyone's attention. Sarutobi Hizen suddenly stood up from the ground, and when he saw the tail beast that came into view, he couldn't help but chuckle. An invisible sense of oppression rolled over. Ha 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 ha, my uncle is finally out. Kazuo Morizuru did not hide his excitement in the slightest. The outside air smelled very fresh to him. Yes it is. Rao is a Shuhei who can hardly remember how long he has not been out. Shuhei. Shaman raised his head, staring at the monster that he had fallen in love with and killed countless times in front of him, and took a breath. Although under his own suggestion, Sagaku returned Aikyo Morizuru into a war machine. But what kind of effect will it have? He didn't have much confidence in his heart. After all, this is the first actual combat. Shuhei, I need your strength. Shaman said without thinking, and at the same time took out a scroll from his body. Open directly, the above is exactly from 1 to 10, 10 numbers. It is the crowd of 10 people in Jinsong. In Shippuden, a 1000-generation mother-in-law used these puppets to deal with the scorpion of her grandson, the Red Sand. Strictly speaking, the person who created these puppets was not the second-generation Fengying Sand Gate. It is the masterpiece of the puppet master Menziman. The mother-in-law of the 1000 generations once used this ninjutsu to conquer a village, which can be said to be a very powerful puppet. As for Shaman, he was actually a ninja who developed puppetry and used it in actual combat. It can be said that he and Menziman are complementary existences. Through this war, Menziman also handed all his most proud puppets to Shaman. I hope he can win. In any case, Cheyenne village has the poorest soil. Trapped by wind and sand all year round. Even Fengying can hardly change the environment. Saman. Only then did Kazuo Morizuru notice that Shaman was here, and his mood suddenly became unhappy. He remembered very clearly that Shaman, this guy, used his own abilities to develop a magnetic ninjutsu for manipulating sand. Advertisement. This incident once made him very upset. Seeing Shaman now, Kazuo Shozuru shot at him without even thinking about it. Feng Dun Air Training Bomb. I saw a tail of Morizuru took a deep breath, aimed at the ground below, based on the majestic chakra volume, and released a huge typhoon. Crushed towards the sand gate. As for the avatar of Cage, Sarutobi re-cut these people. One-tailed Maori crane would naturally not look at it. His wind escape can be said to be an indiscriminate attack. Damn Shuhei. Sandman clenched his teeth, and quickly backed away from the attack range of Shuhei. Although the use of the tail beast for war was a plan he came up with, it was not mature enough in practice. In any case, the current share of blessings is not a perfect person. If you want Shuhei to come out, you can only rely on the art of sleeplessness. In this way, the thought that dominates the tail beast chakra liang naturally becomes the Shuhei. Even Sandman cannot intervene. Fortunately, in the concept of Shozuru, there is no preference for Konoha ninja either. Instead, it launched an indiscriminate attack. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Fortunately, I was worried about this for a long time, so I only brought a few San Shinobu. Shaman couldn't help being pleased with his own mechanism. Fortunately, there are not many Sans acting with him, otherwise, Shuhei's loss of control may really become a disaster. What a strong wind ninjutsu. Fengying's avatar raised his head to look towards the sky, and the huge wind ball rolled towards him. With his own speed, it is not difficult to avoid this trick at all. However, with Sarutobi Hizen's current strength, it is basically a disaster. Thought of here, Hefeng Ying's avatar had no choice but to throw out a handful of kunai printed with the Fei Lei Shen technique, and went straight to Sarutobi Ri to slash away. At the same time, he used the reward the body had just drawn by punching in. Magnetic Escape Dust. Magnetic Escape Placer Cube. This ninjutsu was launched with the Hefeng Ying avatar. The ground on the side of Sarutobi's body began to bulge rapidly, and the golden sand separated, shone, and condensed together to form a huge cube, hanging on top of Sarutobi's head. At the same time, the kunai of Hefeng Ying's avatar also arrived in front of Rizan. The art of flying thunder god. At the moment when the wind ball completely exploded, Kage's clone appeared next to Sarutobi Hizen, using magnetic escape and dust to defend. Directly resisted the wind of one show crane. Advertisement. However, with the wind as the center, other places are not so stable. The forest was directly pushed flat by a guard crane, completely razed to the ground, becoming bare, not to mention, the earth was sinking faintly. A deep pit is formed. Hefeng Ying avatar looked around, marveling at the power of a show crane. This is far more terrifying than when Gaara ran away in the Zongan exam. But the slumbering technique was not perfect. Hefeng Ying's avatar quickly reacted, and with a single hand, he violently pushed out the Aventuran cube used for defense and attacked Shuhei. Due to the size of the relationship, the current Hefeng Ying clone does not need to deliberately aim, and can attack the opponent casually. Because of its size, it is really huge. But that's okay, it's time to put one in the bag. Rumble. The placer gold cube went straight to a guard crane and hit its abdomen. Okay, but for the current Morizuru, this level of ninjutsu is simply not enough to harm it. Although the amount of chakras of the tail beasts is divided according to the number of tails, the one-tailed guard crane is not the weakest of the tail beasts. You attacked my uncle. Kazuo Morizuru blinked, seriously wondering if he had seen something wrong. And the abilities used by this kid are also very strange. It's exactly the same as his own ability. Suddenly, Shizuo Shuhei put away his dislike for Sand Gate, waved his big hand, turned his arm into yellow sand, and swept across the sky toward Hefeng Ying's clone. It was like a giant net, covering him. The Sarutobi Risen who saw this scene felt his brain blank and his nerves tense. Ars quickly get out of here. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help yelling. In his opinion, dodge with the technique of the Thunder God is the only way. Otherwise, he and Hefeng's shadow clone will only be buried alive by the opponent's abilities. And he is just an entity clone, even if it is eliminated, the body will not be so good. But I'm different. I am just an ordinary shinobu. If you face the direct attack of the tail beast, you will definitely die. What is it? Sun Slash. Hefeng Ying avatar glanced at Sun Slash with an angry look, and pressed his hands directly to the ground. Magnetic Escape Jinsha Wave. In an instant, a large amount of placer gold agglomerated together and hit the yellow sand of a guard crane. Chapter 354 The Risks and Weaknesses of Phonation. One more. Advertisement. Hefeng Ying's avatar unscrupulously released magnetic escape dust, and collided with the power of Kazuo Shozuru. It's like two huge waves, equal to each other. However, the weight of placer gold is more than that of ordinary gravel, and when mixed into it, it can slow down the effect of sand. When one-tailed show crane went violently, the fourth-generation Feng Ying Luo Sha used this ability to stop it. But the breeze is not Rosa. Even if it was just a shadow clone of Hefeng, the amount of chakras he possessed far exceeded Luosha. The placer gold that can be made from the earth is even more exaggerated than the power of a Shozuru. Rumble. Accompanied by the deafening loud noise, the dust released by Hefeng Ying clone not only slowed the rampage of a show crane, but also suppressed its sand back. Impossible. Kazuo Morizuru suddenly felt his brain go blank, and he was unbelievable in his heart. It never dreamed that an 8-year-old kid would actually block his own power. How did he do it? What's the matter with this chakra amount? Obviously he is just a human imp, but he has a chakra like a tail beast. Feng Dun Air Training Bomb. In a hurry, one Shuhei raised his generous palm and patted his stomach suddenly, while taking a deep breath to release his wind escape. Compressed into a huge wind ball, it struck towards the magnetic escape of Hefeng Ying's clone. It was unsuccessful. Shuhei did not pause and continued to attack. Bang, bang, bang. The momentum was louder than once, stirring the air, forming a terrifying air current, spreading out in all directions. Rao was shaman, and his expression changed in shock at this time. He originally wanted to use the power of a show crane to pretend to attack for himself. Then use the 10 people of Jinsong to find a chance to kill Hefeng. But who knows, the battle between Hefeng Ying clone and Yue Shuhei is really two monsters. The scope of ninjutsu is exaggerated and amazing. Even the puppet he controlled could not overcome this shock wave. The scariest thing is, Hefeng Ying avatar is better at magnetic escape than him in the next 3 generations of Feng Ying. Those dust gold surrounded him, not only could attack a show crane, but also played an absolute defensive effect. Without any exaggeration. Advertisement. Hefeng, the kid's use of magnetic escape, is simply my ideal state. Shaman rolled his throat and swallowed nervously, his heart was deeply shocked. Although he was a ninja who developed sand manipulation, it was compared with the current Japanese style. It's not on a horizontal line at all. Myself. Will lose. Such thoughts popped up in Shaman's mind and lingered. He really couldn't understand why the 8-year-old Hefeng could master such power. How did it do it? In fact, the Hefeng Ying avatar is able to use magnetic escape better than Shaman. On the one hand, it was because he didn't need to focus part of his energy on manipulating the puppet-like Sandman. You can better focus on the control of placer gold. Let them be as flexible as their own hands and feet. Salmon is indeed a very talented ninja in Cheyenne Village, but a person's energy is limited. Hefeng Avatar thought to himself. On the other hand, it is the chakra volume. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Although he was only 8 years old, he obtained the chakra between the pillars through the punch card system. Do not. Generally, the energy of a ninja is called chakra, and the energy between the thousand hands pillars should be called chatanra. Rao is 9 tails, and it is difficult to compare with Zujian. Not to mention a mere Shuhei. Plus the identity of the traveler. The current Zephyr knows how to use this magnetic escape better than Shaman. However, I don't plan to play with you here. Hefeng Avatar took a deep breath, slapped his hands hard, and put them together directly. Further exert the power of magnetic escape dust gold. Magnetic escape placer gold boundary method. As the Hefeng Avatar once again launched a magnetic escape, a large amount of gold dust emerged from the feet of one Shuhei, like bamboo shoots, bursting out of the ground, as sharp as a spear. Stabbed to the body of Kazuo Morizuru. Although one-tailed show crane is known as an absolute defense, its shortcomings are also very obvious. That is his mobility, which is almost the weakest among all the tail beasts. In the face of the gold dust world law released by Hefeng Avatar, there is nowhere to escape. In an instant, Kazuo Shizuru's actions were firmly blocked by Hefeng Avatar. Advertisement. Okay. By the time Ichi-tailed Morizuru reacted, it was already in a cage made of gold dust. Damn kid, using my abilities to deal with me. In the eyes of Kazuo Morizuru, the moves used by the wind came from himself. For a time, Kazuo Morizuru's mood was extremely upset. I didn't want to use this, it's the kid you forced me. One Shozuru made a low voice, his hands were bound by the placer gold world law, making it difficult to move. Simply in an immobile state, he began to condense his chakras, and condense them according to a certain proportion. It's just. Tail Beast Jade. This is what every tail beast will do. And in the consciousness of Kazuo Shozuru, this move is undoubtedly its strongest move. Even the monster imp, Hefeng, can't defend it. Tailed Beast Jade. Salmon suddenly changed his face. As a ninja who advocated putting the tail beast into the battlefield, he knew the power of the tail beast. Now I was shocked to see Yue Shuhei desperately using the tail beast Jade. 5 fingers grabbed a fist, hit his right cheek, and smashed it. The endless gold dust gathered together in the air to form a big golden hand, spreading out the palm, and resisting the attack of a tail of Shuhei. Kazuo Morizuru roared loudly, as if he had already foreseen the death of the wind. Hefeng Avatar can instantly appear here as long as he activates the technique of Flying Thunder God. Hefeng's clone disappeared directly beside Sarutobi Hizen. The placer gold world method he used was not just for restraining a show crane. Soon, after 2 or 3 can't breathe, it condenses into a tail beast Jade, then aims at the breeze, launching it without thinking. The risks and weaknesses of this ninjutsu are so obvious. To some extent, the art of sleeplessness is really good ninjutsu, but the speed of the one-tailed guard crane is extremely fast. In his opinion, a little carelessness, the power of this beast Jade will cause irreparable accidental injury. Rather than sharing the blessings of the perfect human column power, it is still impossible to control the power of a crane. But the next second, while talking with Feng Avatar, with a strong kick with both feet, the whole person is like a flying arrow, rushing towards the blessing exposed on the top of the head of a Shuhei. Right at the very top of the placer gold realm, there is the Flying Thunder God art style impressively printed. Go to hell, kid. Chapter 355. I seriously suspect that I have fallen into illusion. 2 more. Advertisement. The art of sleeplessness is completely different from the tail beast runaway. It is a ninjutsu that can release the true power of the tail beast. And as time goes by, the power of the tail beast will become stronger and stronger. When Gaara and Uzumaki Naruto battled decisively, the one-tailed show crane and the toad were too close to each other, and the tail beast Jade could not be used. Precisely because of its power at the time, it was not complete enough. Although the current share of blessings is stronger than Gaara at that time, it is possible to make a tail of show crane use the tail beast Jade. But this still can't change the weakness and risk of sleeplessness. That is, when Renjuli uses the art of sleeplessness, Renjuli will appear on the top of Shuhei's head. Once awakened, the art of sleeplessness will be interrupted. One-tailed show crane will also be forced to return to Renjuli's body. This is also to prevent the tail beast from running away completely, thereby getting rid of the insurance set by the human column force. Now, this insurance has become the biggest weakness. Hefeng, this kid, not only blocked Shuhei's tail beast Jade, but also used the technique of Flying Thunder God to get close to the blessing. Sandman below quickly noticed the figure of Hefeng's clone, and his face suddenly became pale. He never dreamed that the 8-year-old Zephyr possesses such terrifying power. He is regarded as the biggest whole card, Ichi-tailed Morisuru. In front of the breeze, it is simply vulnerable. For a time, Sandman was confident and sure of the invasion of Konoha Yin village. Mentality. Collapsed. How so? With a plop, Shaman slumped to the ground. That distance, that placer gold world law, even he, can't stop the current gentle breeze. You kid. One-tailed Shozuru quickly noticed the gentle breeze. It roared loudly, and one after another arms grew crazily above its head to block the current gentle breeze. However, how could Hefeng's avatar's footsteps be prevented at such a mere level? I saw Hefeng avatar drawing power from the placer gold realm, forming a placer gold cube and a placer gold triangle, hitting these arms that wanted to stop him. Forcibly punched through a bloody road. Relying on the high-speed movement of Bamindunjia, Hefeng's avatar came to Fenfu in an instant, then aimed at his cheek, clenched his fist, and slammed it up without hesitation. Boom. With a loud noise, the majestic force crushed the past. With a fist, Fenfu's scalp was numb, and a mouthful of blood spurted out from the corner of his mouth, including several broken teeth. In an instant, Fenfu's closed eyes suddenly opened. A fiery pain spread from the cheeks to the brain. Advertisement. Before he could figure out what was going on, he saw Hefeng's immature facial features. The corner of his mouth was raised, and a smile appeared. If it was normal, he might still feel cordial when he saw such a child. But now I don't know why, he stared at Hefeng's smile, but he felt like a devil. And, with the split blessing awakened, the art of false sleeplessness was completely stopped. The body of Kazuo Shozuru was like yellow sand surging toward the body of the blessing. Damn it, my uncle only came out once. You kid, I'm going to kill you. You wait for me, Kazuo Morizuru yelled at him, but he couldn't do anything except vent his anger in this way. He could only watch his body helplessly, pouring into Hefeng's body. But this is not. Just when Kazuo Shozuru completely returned to Fenfu's body, making him hang in the air and fall towards the ground. Hefeng's avatar clenched his fists again. And this time, it was not only under the blessing of Bamindunjia, but also condensed the chakra between the pillars to the fist. Extremely precise control. To this end, to ensure that Aikyo Morizuru will not reappear, and Cage clone intends to completely defeat Fenfu. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Let him lose the power and continue to fight. Cherry blossoms. Accompanied by the roar of Hefeng's clone, his fist was centered on the blessed abdomen. The majestic force crushed it down and smashed the points of blessing directly below. A white ripple spread out. It looked like he was swatting a fly, and he slapped the blessing. I saw him falling quickly, and before crashing to the ground, he had lost consciousness. Before he even hummed, he passed out. In the end, the back hit the ground, shattering the ground layers, leaving a spider web-like crack. The flying stone rolled out. Sand Shinobu present was stunned. Just how terrifying is the strength of Ichi-tailed Shozuru? They couldn't be clearer. Rao is a part of the blessing as a container, in their eyes it is a monster-like existence. Result. The one-tailed guard crane that kept them terrified all the time. That's all. It's solved. Who can believe this kind of thing? Who can dare to believe it? Advertisement. Open. Are you kidding? That's Shuhei. Too scary. That kid, is he really only 8 years old? He came. Just as the sand ninjas were shocked by it, one of the ninjas couldn't help exclaiming. Everyone looked towards the sky. I saw the shadow clone of Hefeng, falling down at an unprecedented speed. Eventually it landed on the ground, stirred up the air, and swept in all directions, coming like a god of death. For a while, all the ninjas, including Shaman, held their breath and stared at the wind with all their attention. It's too exaggerated. Sarutobi Hizen sat directly on the ground, breathing in a cold breath at the corner of his mouth, looking at Hefeng's back. As a ninja who returned to Konoha hidden village with Cage clone. His heart is too clear. The 8-year-old ninja in front of him is not the body of Japanese style at all. It's just a shadow clone of him. And, this is Mu Dun clone. Just a shadow clone of Hefeng has the power to defeat the tail beast. Otherwise, how to explain all this? In his opinion, he really meets people who are worried about their situation. The wind is the real monster. It should be Sandman, not himself. As soon as this thought came out, Sarutobi could not help feeling ashamed. Sarutobi Risen couldn't help but vomit. In fact, it is true. There is also the magnetic escape in placer gold just now. Sarutobi Risen muttered to himself, and there was a storm in his heart, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. Monster, isn't it? He copied it by writing round eyes, right? Moreover, Salmon also used ninjutsu similar to Japanese style. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. He was also the first time he saw the use of Japanese style. Originally, I was worried about my situation when I encountered the ninja in Cheyenne village. Now it seems that this worry is completely unnecessary. I seriously doubted whether I was caught in the illusion of writing round eyes at the beginning. Hefeng, an 8-year-old kid, easily defeated a show crane. As the shaman who was supposed to be the second generation of Fengying in the future, he is now staring dumbfounded at Hefeng. Chapter 356 What? I fought with a shadow clone for a long time. One more. Advertisement. Shaman looked stunned during the whole process. It wasn't until Fenfu didn't even have time to hum, and he passed out on the spot and fell at the feet of Hefeng's avatar, that he slightly reacted. But it was too late. Magnetic escape placer gold, it's really easy to use. Hefeng's avatar clenched his fists, and the placer gold realm behind him collapsed. Although he had a head-to-head contest with Aikyo Morizuru, he didn't consume much chakra. To be precise, the amount of chakras of the Japanese style is too much. If you change to another ninja, the level of ninjutsu just now, I'm afraid it's not already exhausting the amount of chakra. Sarutobi Hazumi stared at the background of Cage's clone, as Konoha ninja, he knew very well in his heart. The 8-year-old kid standing in front of him was not the body of the gentle wind. It's just a physical clone of him. How strong is the current Japanese style? With just one entity clone, it can easily defeat a show crane. Sarutobi Hitoshi couldn't help sighing in his heart. During the whole process, Aikimu Shuhei never even touched the Hefeng avatar. It is no exaggeration to say that Hefeng's shadow clone is basically a tail of Shuhei. You know, that's a tail beast. A collection of super chakras. Was defeated like this. Guru. Shaman rolled his throat and swallowed nervously. His eyes were big, staring at Hefeng's clone. An indescribable sense of fear spontaneously grew in his heart. I'm scared. Shaman subconsciously manipulated the 10 people in Jinsong, wanting to launch a surprise attack on Hefeng's clone. But when he twisted his fingers, he realized that his hands were shaking constantly. So that you can't control the puppet well. He is scared. Fear of a kid who is only 8 years old. This kind of thing simply subverted Shaman's cognition and made him feel incredible. Tell you one more thing, Sandman. The corners of Hefeng's mouth rose, and a smile appeared. Even the one-tailed Shuhei was defeated by himself. What's the deal with the mere Sandman? The most important thing is that, as the shadow clone of Hefeng, his biggest weakness is that his body is not strong enough. Any ninjutsu can make oneself disappear on the spot. However, the magnetic escape and gold dust that the body has just drawn through the punch-in system has greatly made up for its own weaknesses. Now he doesn't need to worry about this problem anymore. What? Advertisement. Shaman blurted out instinctively, not understanding what he said. My body is now at the border post in the border forest of the country of fire. I'm just a shadow clone. Hefeng avatar made a sound. At this time, he didn't worry at all that Shaman, and the other ninjas in Cheyenne village, knew this secret. As soon as this remark came out, it caused an uproar instantly. All the sand forbearance present took a breath. Marvel at the facts just heard. Have you heard? This kid said he was just a shadow clone. Cheat, deceive, how could that kind of strength be just a shadow clone? If even the shadow clone is so terrifying, how exaggerated is his body? For a time, Sand Shinobu talked a lot, and no one could accept this fact. According to their cognition, even the most powerful entity clone has a certain degree of gap with the ontology. And, the shadow clone invented by Phagian was to gather information. Instead of actual combat. In fact, the shadow clone can be used in actual combat casually, throughout Konoha Hidden Village. Do not. It should be said that the entire ninja world, only Uzumaki Naruto can easily do it. This is because he himself is the Maelstrom family, with a huge amount of chakras, and the relationship between the 9 tails. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Following this train of thought, it is no wonder these ninjas are so surprised. Shaman was even stupid. He always thought that he was already a very powerful ninja. As a result, I didn't expect that in the First Ninja World War, I would run into such an unreasonable kid like the Japanese style. It's just a living monster. Shaman couldn't help but complain. Immediately afterwards, Hefeng's avatar burst out with blue thunders all over the body. It's the Lei Dun chakra mode. Lei Dun. Shaman was shocked again. Hefeng inherited the wooden escape technique between the pillars. And Mu Dun is the boundary of blood inheritance fused by Shui Dun and Tu Dun. In other words, the breeze itself has the water escape chakra and the earth escape chakra. Just a moment ago, he resorted to a magnetic escape-like attribute change. Now it's Lei Dun again. And it's still so subtle. And right round eyes. The more I thought about it, the more rounded Shaman's eyes became. Did not hide his current emotions in the slightest. Advertisement. To be precise, the current Shaman can't hide it. Because of the performance of the gentle wind, his 3 views have been completely shattered. It's over, Sandman. You are indeed very strong. If you let it go here, one day you will become the shadow of Cheyenne village. Unfortunately, you met me here. Hefeng's clone threw a sound, exuding a powerful murderous intent. This is the First Ninja World War. Now that he is on the battlefield, whether he can survive or not depends entirely on his own strength. Being killed here, Sandman shouldn't have any complaints. And a ninja like him. I will not be merciful. Killing decisively, one goes up and down. This is the way of forbearance and wind. Hell stab, a consistent hand. With a burst of shout from Hefeng avatar, he bends 4 fingers directly, only the index finger is aimed at Shaman's left chest like a kunai. Next second, Hefeng's avatar rushed straight out with 1 foot on the thunder. Salmon was ashamed. He grew up so many times that he had been on the battlefield. How many powerful enemies have been encountered? Sandman gritted his teeth and tried to use the power of magnetic escape to block the attack of Hefeng clone. This is the evil spirit that came out of hell. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, Second Element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The murderous aura he felt was stronger than ever before. However, facing the 8-year-old kid in front of him. In an instant, there was no barrier between Hefeng's clone and Shaman. Shaman couldn't help but sucked in a cold breath, and became even more nervous, trying to control the 10 people in Jinsong with all his strength to block the wind. However, if you turn around and run for your life at this time, you will only be caught up by the wind, and then kill in seconds. Unstoppable. Rao is facing the first generation of Feng. Shaman has never felt such an oppressive feeling. What 8-year-old kid is here? Click. But today's Hefeng clone is far faster than sand. Click. Sand can't catch up with the wind. This kid is really just a clone. Hefeng Ying's avatar was like thunder, a powerful force of the hand, and all the puppets that rushed at him, all broke through the transparent holes before and after. The results are all the same. Chapter 357 The second generation Feng Ying Shaman, die. 2 more. Advertisement. Fast speed. Shaman stepped back again and again, but he couldn't compare with the current Hefeng Ying clone. At the critical moment, Shaman was forced to abandon the puppetry and release the magnetic escape to form an absolute defense. Attempt to resist Hefeng's consistent hand. However, even if it is the shadow clone of Hefeng, his consistent hand is already at its peak. Facing the sand protruding from the ground, the fierce rush of thunder directly penetrated it, breaking a transparent hole before and after. Shaman's eyes were bigger than Bull's eyes, and he couldn't stop the thunderous escape of the gentle breeze. He could only watch the distance between the two sides getting shorter and shorter. Thunder bursts. Shaman held his breath involuntarily. Next second, the majestic power directly collapsed the sand armor of Shaman, and continued to move forward, opening a blood hole in his chest. The power of thunder formed a high temperature in an instant, steaming the heart of Shaman at high temperature. Immediately afterwards, Hefeng Ying avatar suddenly stopped. The generated power directly lifted the air, forming a shock wave, and lifted the sand gate from the original place. It formed a perfect parabola in the air and fell heavily to the ground. The body rolled several times in a row before Sandon was able to stop. Seeing this scene, Sand Shinobu was all dumbfounded, staring at Sand Gate hard to know, and couldn't accept it in their hearts. That powerful Sand Gate has successively developed puppetry and magnetic escape. Was defeated by the wind in this way. Moreover, this is not his body, but a shadow clone of him. This kind of thing has simply subverted the cognition of every ninja present. Horrible. You're kidding, that 8-year-old kid defeated Lord Shaman. Master Shaman, but the best candidate for the future Feng Ying, the strength is not inferior to the current Master Feng Ying. 2. It's terrible, is that guy really a ninja? It's a monster. For a while, these sands couldn't help but think of a piece. Monster. Hefeng, an 8-year-old kid, is not a ninja at all. It's a monster completely in human skin. We have to leave here quickly and send the information to Master Feng Ying. Suddenly, a sober-minded Sand Shinobu reacted abruptly. Now is not the time for them to stand here and be shocked by the strength of Hefeng. If you don't leave here quickly, all of them, I'm afraid they will not die here. Most importantly, intelligence. The contest between ninjas is often an intelligence contest. Advertisement. If you don't hurry up and hand over the information of Hefeng this monster to Feng Ying, then Cheyenne village is bound to lose this war. The other ninjas reacted quickly, kicked their feet hard, turned and left here. I'm sorry, Lord Shaman, it's not that we don't want to save you, but, can't do it. The kid in Hefeng is too scary. We did this entirely for the village. Sand Shinobu thought to himself. However, the shadow clone of Hefeng, where will he be soft-hearted? As the entity clone of K's, he naturally has the same way of forbearance as the main body. Kill decisively. Seeing that Hefeng Ying avatar didn't even look at these sands, he directly raised his other hand and aimed his palm at them. Next second, squeeze the 5 fingers together firmly and make a fist. The direction the sand ninja ran out suddenly burst out of gold dust, which changed into a palm, grabbed their abdomen, and lifted it high. Sand-bound hazel. Following the burst of Hefeng Ying avatar, the dust squeezed hard, directly crushing the 5 internal organs and 6 lungs of these ninjas. Pouch, pouch, pouch. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In an instant, these sand ninjas spewed a mouthful of blood, and their pupils spread, and they died tragically on the spot. A bloody smell spread in all directions. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help feeling a little nauseated. The gentle breeze is getting more and more terrifying. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help but sucked in a cold breath. The ninjas who were killed by the wind were all the upper ninjas of Cheyenne village. Outstanding strength. If you change to yourself and face these ninjas at the same time, you may not be able to escape. As a result, in front of the wind, these outstanding ninjas could not even survive a round. The most terrifying thing is that the person who kills them in seconds is not the body of Hefeng. It's just a shadow clone of Hefeng. This is the great horror. You know, Hefeng is only 8 years old this year, and he is still a child. It is a terrible existence that is so strong that it violates scientific common sense. Especially the big heart of Japanese style. The performance is more like a battle-tested ninja. To be clear, this is not only the first war in the ninja world, but also the first war experienced by Hefeng. Its scale far exceeds that of the Warring States period. Although Hefeng had killed ninjas before this, but at that level, it was just fighting. War is not a concept at all. Advertisement. Sarutobi Hitoshi couldn't help thinking in his heart. If it weren't for the small size of Hefeng, he might be suspicious now. Is the person in front of you an adult? Do not. Even Master Phagian may not be able to compare with the current Zephyr. Just a shadow clone, defeated the tail beast. Can you do this kind of thing? Sarutobi Hizen was seriously suspicious in his heart. Saman. Just when Sarutobi Risen thought of this, Hefeng Ying avatar had already strode meteor, walked to the front of Sand Gate, and called out his name in a low voice. I have to say that Shaman's vitality is far more powerful than ordinary ninjas. Obviously the heart has been penetrated by myself. He was still lying on the ground, not dying on the spot. Do you have any last words? Hefeng Ying avatar slowly spoke. In any case, Shaman is a ninja who deserves to be the second generation of Cage. It is also a genius ninja who develops puppet art and magnetic escape. Although the two sides are enemies, Hefeng still respects such a ninja in his heart. It's just that the camp is different. Killing him here is undoubtedly the most favorable decision for Konoha Yin village. Should have become the second generation of Fengying's Sand Gate. However, now, with the emergence of the gentle breeze, their hopes may not be completely shattered. Died on the spot. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. When Shaman heard the breeze, he slowly rolled his eyes and focused his gaze on him. Now he doesn't have the slightest strength. Their living environment is almost the worst among all shinobu villages. Why? There is too much difference in strength between the two sides. Why? A genius like you is just the grandson of Zujian. Sandman exhausted his last strength before squeezing out these words, but his expression suddenly froze. I am not reconciled, I am not reconciled. For a long time, the people of the Kingdom of Wind have been living in dire straits. Shaman's tone was full of unwillingness. Obtaining resources through war is almost their best hope for getting out of trouble. Can't stand up at all. Pawn, you really are a monster, kid. Chapter 358 Return to Konoha. One more. Advertisement. Seeing Shaman's breath a little bit, Fengying's avatar can fully feel his excitement and the unwillingness in his tone. Until the moment of death, Shaman couldn't let go of it. Until the pupils were completely diffused, the eyes did not close for a long time. Do not look down. As for those sand shinobu who followed him, Hefengying avatar will naturally not let go. Except for the benefits of being Renjuli, everyone was killed by the magnetic escape of Hefengying's clone. Tragically died on the spot. Sarutobi Hizen looked around, watching the scene before him, and it took a while to calm his emotions. On the one hand, he is fortunate that his partner is Hefeng. Even if it's just a shadow clone of him, he feels unprecedented peace of mind. The most important thing is that if Hefeng wasn't strong enough, he would definitely die in the hands of Sand Shinobu today. After this war is over, he will be a martyr in Konoha village with a high probability. The premise is that after this war is over, Konoha Hidden Village can still be safe and sound. Thinking of this, Sarutobi recut 3 steps and made 2 steps, and walked to Hefengying avatar. What are we going to do with these corpses now? Sarutobi Hizen asked casually. Although Hefeng is only 8 years old, he has shown his mind, thinking, and strength. It's not like something an 8-year-old child should have at all. It is no exaggeration to say that Hefeng now uses a transformation technique casually, disguised as a pillar room or door room. Do not. Even Uchiha Madara would not have the slightest suspicion. What's more, regardless of age, he is also his captain. His actions should be obeyed by this 8-year-old kid. Put it here first. Fengying's gaze retracted from Shaman, and with a light flick of his right hand, he used magnetic escape dust again, turning the land under him into quicksand. I saw that Shaman's body began to sink slowly, and soon disappeared from Sunslash's sight. Next second, Fengying avatar picked up the scroll that Shaman had fallen on the ground, sealed all his 10 people near Song, and then threw the scroll directly to Sunslash. Go back and give this thing to my ontology. Fengying avatar emphasized. In any case, the 10 people in Jinsong are quite good puppets. Although he was destroyed by his consistent hand in the battle, it shouldn't affect anything if he repaired it a little bit. Maybe sometime, his own body got the puppet technique through the punch card package. Of course, these are things to follow. Advertisement. Since meeting Shaman, Fengying's avatar has a bad feeling in her heart. They weren't the ninjas they met at the border of Konoha Hidden Village. This is almost the outskirts of the village. And according to the moving direction of Shaman and others, they are not like ninjas who invaded Konoha Hidden Village, but more like those who came here specially from Konoha Hidden Village. Anyway, the encounter with Shaman revealed a strangeness everywhere. Let Hefengying avatar not careless. Take that guy. After a brainstorming, Hefengying avatar pointed to the fainted Fenfu, and let Rizan carry him behind him. In his body, a Shuhei is now being sealed. Although my body is strengthened by punching in rewards, no one has said that he can only become stronger by punching in rewards. Despite the transplantation of the writing wheel, the method of fusing the intercolumn cells to strengthen is extremely risky and costly. But in Naruto world, there are always simple and rude ways. Such as Renjuli. Of course, with Hefeng's current strength, he would naturally not look at any tail beast from 1 tail to 9 tails. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As long as the breeze is necessary, he can eradicate any tail beast in an instant. But, if it's 10 tails, it's another matter. Let's go. After Sarutobi Hizen tied Fenfu and carried him behind his back, Fengying clone said without thinking. In addition to these things, he now has one more thing that must be dealt with as soon as possible. Okay. Sarutobi slapped his head heavily and said nothing. He quickly followed behind Hefengying's avatar. Although he is only 8 years old, his physical fitness is exceptionally strong. Even a genius ninja like Sarutobi Hizen can't be compared. Do not. Compared with the current Japanese style, there is no such thing as a genius ninja in the entire ninja world. There is only waste, the difference with more waste. However, Sarutobi Hizen felt something unprecedented from Kazuka's body. Tension. Such things are rare. The last time I felt this emotion, I met Uchiha Madara who should have died in MT. Myoki. Advertisement. Hefeng, have you noticed something? In fact, Sarutobi Hizen also had a strong premonition in his heart. He also thinks that it is the premonition that makes Hefeng appear such an unusual sense of tension. Okay. Hefeng Avatar nodded. Although Kagura's eyes were drawn from the punch card package, the sensing range was only a few kilometers. In other words, he was in the border forest of the Fire Country, and he didn't know the situation of Konoha Hidden Village at all. And the worst situation is likely to have reached the point of tragic. Yinyan Village, Wuyin Village, and Cheyenne Village have invaded the village. After all, not every border post in the Country of Fire is as safe as the one where the wind is sitting. And this time, Hefeng clone was also more cautious and more careful. From time to time, he used Kagura's eyes. As the avatar of Hokage and Sarutobi Hizen approached the village more and more, they also met other ninjas in Ninja Village. Such is the situation that the Feng avatar is most worried about. Along the way, there are not only the ninjas from Cheyenne Village. They also met the ninjas of Wuyin Village and Yinyan Village. It seems that the situation is as bad as you and I imagined. In other words, the Hefeng body on the border of the Fire Country will gain the experience of his clone and all his memories during this time. Although Hefeng is a traverser, he has lived in this world for nearly 2 years. Hefeng's avatar didn't immediately answer this question, but continued to run forward until it slowed down and finally stopped. He is already quite close to the center of the village. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Do you want to release the shadow clone technique here? First of all, we must first confirm the situation in the door. As a disciple of Fenjian, Sarutobi Hizen naturally knew this ninjutsu well. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help but complain, then what are your plans? No matter where the body is, it will receive feedback from the clone. But, man has soul, keep these people safe, and, the safety of Uzumaki Mito. Whether it's the column, the door, or the Mito, they treat him as if they were their own. Once the clone is released, ninjutsu. Hefeng avatar stood on top of the head of the only generation of Hokage on the Hokage rock, overlooking the village condescendingly, and said to Sarutobi. He wants. Chapter 359 We are invincible ahead of us. 2 more. Advertisement. The avatar of Hefeng and Sarutobi Hizen appeared in Hokage rock together, standing on the head of the original Hokage, looking down at the village condescendingly. There was smoke from ninjutsu's bombardment everywhere. It is not difficult to imagine what Konoha is suffering today. Suck. Hefeng avatar took a deep breath. It looks like the situation is worse than we expected. In any case, the power of peace is always limited. Although he blocked the invasion of Union Village with great strength, he could do nothing about the movements of Cheyenne Village, Yinyan Village, and Wuyin Village. Let's go, Sun Slash, we must find the door as soon as possible. Hefeng avatar said without thinking, and then jumped down from Hokage rock. Sarutobi Hizen glanced at the decisive actions of the Hokage avatar, and glanced at the current bad situation in Konoha Village. A bad hunch came out spontaneously. Although Hefeng has always shown unmatched strength. And the talent that shocks the world. But the trouble encountered this time was different. He faced that he was no longer a ninja alone. It was the combined force of other shinobu villages to invade. Master between the pillars, I hope you can bless the village, bless the breeze, everything is safe. Sarutobi Hizen stood on top of the Hokage rock, praying silently in his heart, and then followed the movements of Hefeng's clone and jumped down from here. Now the war is getting into white hot. Rao is always a wise man, and he can hardly resist this trouble. Senjuzuma's death a few years early has caused great trouble to the village. Coupled with the early rebellion of the Uchiha clan, it further caused serious damage to the village. Despite the genius of Hefeng, he minimized the problem in time. But it is undeniable that today's Konoha Hidden Village is the weakest period. Face the invasion of 3 shinobu villages. Even a strong man like Janjian is lacking in skills. For a time, the villagers who had no fighting capacity had to retreat to the Chinsho clan camp. And leave the elite ninjas of the Senju clan, and Senju Taohua will be responsible for confirming their safety. At the same time, gather all the ninjas of Konoha Ninja Village to fight with all their strength. Nowadays, there are ninjas fighting against each other in all areas of the village. The Hefeng clone who just joined the battlefield does not even need to deliberately look for enemies. As soon as he entered the center of Konoha village, he found himself being stared at by a lot of Iwanan. As a country living on a rock wall, they have always coveted fertile soil. After the Fourth Ninja World War, the friction between Yinyan village and Konoha Yin village continued even more. It's Konoha's kid. Advertisement. Kill him. Since Hefeng avatar hadn't even thought of hiding himself, the Konoha protective forehead on his body quickly attracted Iwa Shinobu's attention. These people have a vicious look. There is no sympathy at all for the 8-year-old Zefeng. They pulled out Kuma one after another, rushing towards Hefeng clone with hideous faces. Their purpose is only one. That is to kill Konoha ninja mercilessly. Whether the other party is a woman or a child. Never let go. Never let go. Most of these ninjas have come all the way from the Warring States period. This kind of thing has long been commonplace and comes easily. Even, they like to deal with 8-year-olds like Hefeng. As long as they show their fierceness, their psychological defenses will often fail. Shocked in fright, even Kanai could not hold it. Killing them is a piece of cake. But this time, they obviously picked the wrong opponent. Because of the wind, it's not the kind of character that will shiver at all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. He launched it cruelly, definitely more cruel than any ninja in the ninja world. Miu done. Seeing these Yan Ren rushing towards him, Hefeng Avatar raised his hands without hesitation, and then slapped them hard and joined them together. Immediately afterwards, Hefeng Avatar closed his eyes slightly. It would be better to be afraid of the scene in front of him. But to use Kagura's mind. This he drew from the punch card gift package, which originally belonged to the perception ability of the Whirlpool clan. In an instant, Hefeng's avatar locked in a 2-kilometer radius. The tree world is here. With a burst of drink from Hefeng's avatar, the whole street began to vibrate, and tiny vines broke through the soil and emerged from the cracks. And began to grow wildly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Become thick, big and hard. Even if it is a shadow clone, it also has a very majestic chakra volume. These vines soon grew into thick and strong trees, before the Yanin could react. Why does an 8-year-old kid have such terrifying power? They all entered the attack range of the tree world without exception. All entangled by tree trunks. At least it is firmly bound. He can't breathe when he is heavy and he faints directly. Dozens of Iwanan who rushed towards Hefeng's clone were all killed by his mudden. Advertisement. The Sarutobi Hizen who landed steadily opened his eyes widened, an incredible look around him. Swallowing saliva. Your strength is really getting more and more terrifying. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help but complain, and while rejoicing, he felt awe at the same time. Fortunately, he is not the enemy of the gentle wind. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be the same as the fate of these Iwanan. He was killed without even figuring out what had happened. Hefeng's avatar looked at the masterpiece he created. The tree world came down, and then paused for a while. Didn't you just ask me, what should I do at this time? Okay. Sarutobi Hizen was startled first, and then suddenly reacted. He had indeed asked this question. At this kind of time, of course. Break out all the ninjas that stop us. No matter who the other party is, what kind of identity and status it has. All. Blow. Hefeng's avatar made a loud noise, and he didn't act like an 8-year-old kid at all. And it was so powerful that it looked like it would not be heard by others. Sarutobi Hizen was even more stunned on the spot. He blinked his eyes vigorously and calmed down some emotions. He took a breath and spit out in his heart. Break everything. Except you, I am afraid that no one is qualified to say this. Sarutobi Hizen stared at the figure of Hefeng. He was very sure in his heart, if he or Dan Zhang said this. It was the two of them who were blown up every minute. Really, a strong person can be willful. However, there is no doubt that. There is one thing, Sarutobi Hizen is convinced. That is, Hefeng is not bluffing, he really has enough strength to say this. Then, the guy blocking the road in front of him will be blown up directly. Yes it is, Hefeng is such a genius kid. Let's go, sun slash. The breeze's eyes narrowed slightly, and then the meteor strode forward. We are invincible in front of us. Chapter 361 Player and 5 Shadows. One more. Advertisement. Back in Konoha village, Hefeng Avatar and Sarutobi Hitoshi did not stop at all, striding towards the center of the village. Two people use perception abilities at the same time. Finally confirmed the location of the door. On the one hand, Hefeng has a long time with Sarutobi Rishi and Fei. He has been very familiar with his chakra nature for a long time. On the other hand, as a ninjutsu genius of the Thousand Hands clan, the amount of chakra is far beyond that of ordinary people. One-handed Shui Dun ninjutsu is even more called Hai Dun. It is conceivable that the amount of chakras in 1,000 hands is huge. However, the situation in the interim is not very optimistic. This time the Ninja World War has exceeded the expectations of the wind. Fighting against the original Ninja World is not a concept at all. According to the original timeline, the first Ninja World War should have occurred when the first generation of movies died one after another. The second generation movies showed their prominence. And because of the spoils of war, the second generation of Toying and the second generation of Shuiying both died together. The second generation Fu Ying Shaman belonged to the conservatives, and in the first battle of Ninja World, they did not fight hard at all. Based on this and other relationship, the enemy of Konoha Hidden Village. In fact, it is just Union Village. But the situation is completely different now. The first generation movie that established Ninja Village is not only alive, but the second generation movie is also at their peak. Uchiha Madara, who was supposed to be on the side of Konoha Hidemura, was also prevented from rebelling in advance. After a while, it grows up. Instead, Konoha Hidden Village is at a great disadvantage. Fortunately, arrived. Hefeng's avatar successively released the wooden dragon technique and the water dragon bomb technique along the way, flying all the ninjas of other ninja villages. Eventually fell on the roof of a building and saw Chinshojianjian. The current situation is extremely unfavorable for Chinshojian. The 4 ninja villages chose to join forces. Decided to destroy Konoha Hidden Village first, and then divide it up. Although the power of Union Village was blocked by the gentle wind. However, Yenian Village, Sheian Village, and Wuyin Village successfully merged together. Now, the shadow-level masters of these 3 ninja villages are surrounding the door. Most of the armor on the body was also damaged, and the right arm was completely exposed to the air, blood flowed out from the wound, and half of the arm was stained red. Feijian's forehead was even more sweaty and fused with blood, making the visibility of his left eye much lower. Call. He breathed in a big mouth, and held a handful of kuwu printed with the art of Thunder God in his left hand. Advertisement. Always calm, his expression at this time also seemed very nervous. Master Shujian. Sarutobi Hizen stood beside the Hefeng avatar, condescendingly observing the room and the current situation. He had known Feijian for so long, and it was the first time he saw Master Feijian so embarrassed. But, just look at the enemies he faces, and it's not difficult to understand why this is the case now. The Tianshihei River that established Yenian Village, Fengying Raidu, the founder of Sheian Village, and the first generation of Shuiying Balian from Wuyin Village. Sarutobi Hizen rolled his throat and swallowed nervously. Such a lineup can be called luxurious. Go on, just kidding, the shadows of the various villages have chosen to join forces. For a while, Sarutobi Hizen not only felt that his breathing began to become rapid, but his legs also gradually became a little soft. How to fight the difference in combat power between the two sides. In addition to these three old guys, Fengying's eyes narrowed slightly, noting that there were two powerful ninjas behind these people. One is a white bandage wrapped all over. Developed a ninja that is above the limit of blood succession and weed out, dust escape. He is the second generation of Earth Shadows in the future. And that man with long black hair. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If I remember correctly, he is a disciple of Ghost Lantern Wanyu. After the end of the First Ninja World War, he took the seat of three generations of Shui Ying. The brain of Hefeng clone quickly recalls the story of Naruto. Regrettably, the first generation movies are basically characters with the same background. Although after defeating Wie, they jointly used psychic techniques. But he doesn't know what ninjutsu they are good at. In other words, his innate ability to grasp intelligence was blocked. In addition, the second generation of Earth Shadows, and the third generation of Water Shadows. Even if they don't bear the name of the Shadow now, they are still in their 20s. The body is undoubtedly at its peak. Fighting against 5 strong Shadow ranks at the same time, have you persisted until now? It's like a monster. Fengying avatar couldn't help but vomit. On the contrary, Sarutobi Hizen could not help but froze for a while. Seriously doubt whether there is something wrong with my hearing. Hefeng, a monster, actually calls others a monster. How embarrassed he is. But in any case, the ninjas are famous. When Cage Clone and Sarutobi Hitachi appeared here. Advertisement. His powerful perception ability quickly discovered them. In addition, there are other shadows from Shinobu Village. Gentle style. His eyes widened suddenly, and his nerves became straightened. He didn't even dream of it. I would actually be here. At this time, I saw the sudden emergence of a gentle breeze. It turned out to be that kid. Lido turned his head, seeing the 8-year-old Zefenghu was standing on the roof at this time, and he couldn't help feeling a little surprised. He has always remembered his performance during the Zongan exam, as if it happened yesterday. Faced with so many of our strong men, this kid hasn't even been hiding yet. This kid is quite powerful. Toying Shihei couldn't help but praised. Although he was a member of Konoha, he was a man of bold personality. In the interim, it seems that your eldest brother does have a good grandson. It's just a pity that he was born at an untimely time. If he is allowed to grow up for a few more years, maybe he can still do something for another year. What a pity. He couldn't help shook his head, looking sorry for the gentle breeze. In his opinion, no matter how frightening the world is, Hefeng is a wizard of heaven. Today's age is too young. Only 8 years old. What storm can be set off? If they were all 8 years old, these first-generation movies might indeed not be the opponents of Hefeng. The ghost lantern that he is optimistic about is magical. Shui Ying Balian looked up and down the shadow clone of Hefeng. In the future, he can inherit his mantle and become a second-generation Shui Ying person. I didn't even realize what kind of existence the people standing here. They are all human beings now. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Bai Lian has a low voice. Although he did not attend any Zongan exams, he did not overlap with Hefeng. It was solved by the little devil Hefeng. This kid is that genius. Even if he stood there, he was just a newborn calf. Unpredictable monster. What can a mere 8-year-old kid do? It's just right. The same as the front door. He will only die here. However, it is not. Chapter 361. Let's lift the shadow avatar, and wind 2 more. Advertisement. It came just right. The new hatred and the old hatred are counted together. Bai Lian threw a sound. As a hero who walked all the way from the Warring States period and established Shinobu Village. Bai Lian would not be soft-hearted because Hefeng was only 8 years old. On the contrary, such celestial wizards as Hefeng. The wisest way is to get rid of him here and solve this trouble once and for all. Otherwise, if he is allowed to grow up, he will definitely become the next pillar. What's more, he is the ninja who eradicated the ghost lantern and magic moon. Hefeng, why are you here? His complexion became a little livid, and he never dreamed that a gentle breeze would appear at this knot. Although his strength has always been strong, none of the opponents he encountered this time were weak. On the contrary, these people are all very strong. Either one is not under oneself. Not to mention that they are standing together now. Get out of here. In a hurry, he quickly yelled at Hefeng and warned him not to intervene in the battle. However, today's Japanese breeze will listen to what is said here. How strong is the strength of these people in front of him? As a translator, how could he not know better than Zhangjian? I saw Hefeng jump down and landed beside the door. Don't worry, Master Shujian, I won't leave, no matter how you say it. I am Konoha's ninja now. Fengying avatar said loudly. He didn't put the 5 shadows in front of him at all. Rao Shi couldn't help but froze for a while, and was frightened by the courage of Hefeng. Gentle style. On the roof, Sarutobi Hizen watched the wind, and couldn't help sucking in a cold breath at the corner of his mouth. Although Hefeng's behavior just now was very handsome, the enemy in front of him. I am afraid it is not the strongest opponent that can be found in the shinobi world today. Miu done. And the avatar of Hefeng didn't say a word, his hands were pressed together, wooden dragon technique. Following Hefeng's avatar launching Mudden ninjutsu, a thick wooden dragon burst out from under his feet, opening his teeth and dancing claws, twisting his body recklessly, and rushing out towards the 5 shadows. As that guy between the pillars wouldn't escape. When he saw this, the corners of his mouth rose, and a smile appeared. In his opinion, the wood dragon technique used by Hefeng is much inferior to Zujian. Whether it is body shape or power, Earth escaped the art of Earth Dragon Bullet. Advertisement. He was the first to launch a counterattack, his hands quickly combined, and the ground beneath his feet turned into muddy currents, shaking constantly. Immediately afterwards, a brown earth dragon rose from the sky, thicker than a gentle wooden dragon, opened a huge mouth, and then fell suddenly. Whoops. The roar of the dragon was deafening. I saw Shihei's earth dragon biting the wooden dragon and slamming it to the ground. Cracks spread all over Mulong's body and fell apart on the spot. The gentle wooden dragon. Both eyes widened, and the corners of his mouth opened slightly. It was not that he was surprised that the gentle wooden dragon was resisted by Shihei. You know, the identity of the other party is not an ordinary ninja, but the first Dokage who established Yinyan village. Powerful. What he really surprised him was the power of Hefeng Mulong. It was smaller than he had imagined. Soon, an unprecedented thought came into his heart, making him look at the 8-year-old kid Hefeng again. He is not a gentleman. To be precise, he is not the main body of Hefeng. Shadow clone. I activated my perception ability again and found that the breeze in front of me, the amount of chakras was indeed very average. Although it is still more majestic than some, it is the monster in my own impression. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It is incomparable. This is also a drawback of the shadow clone. The chakra amount is allocated by the body. There is only as much as you get. Can't recover by rest. The Hefeng avatar had just experienced the battle with shaman and the sharing of blessings. Part of the chakra volume was consumed. It is naturally different from the same day to use the wood dragon technique now. But, the first generation Feng Raidu noticed at this time. The person who was cut behind his back by Sarutobi looked a little familiar. As that guy sharing blessings. Raidu rubbed his eyes vigorously, seriously doubting whether he had any hallucinations. You know, the tail beast in Cheyenne village is the only one that was not bought from the pillar. At the 5 shadows meeting, Raidu threatened the other 4 shadows, and he could use a shuhei to deal with them. This also means that Cheyenne village was the first village to regard the tail beast as a war machine. This time invading Konoha's plan. Raidu also regarded Fenfu as his whole card, and handed it to Shaman, asking him to use the technique of false sleepiness to release Shuhei at any time. Destroy Konoha. But now, advertisement. This whole card, which he regarded as the king, turned out to be behind Sarutobi Hitoshi. What a joke. Shaman, what the hell is going on? And many more. Soon, Raidu recovered his calm and felt his scalp numb. Regardless of the mind or the strength, Shaman is quite outstanding. He developed puppetry and magnetic escape. It surprised myself even more. He would not make the mistake of losing the tail beast on the battlefield. Unless, how is Shaman? In a low voice, Lido asked Hefeng. Saman. Hefeng's avatar tilted his head. Although his wood dragon technique was broken by Shihei, he did not have the slightest worry on his face. I can't say that he is okay. You kid, I want to be here to solve you. Lido became angry for a while, and decisively moved towards Hefeng. I saw his hands quickly form a seal, then he condensed chakra to his throat, took a deep breath, and finally exhaled suddenly. In an instant, the breath exhaled by the fierce fighting formed a sharp wind blade that swept toward the gentle wind. Wind escape, sickle empty. Soon, Hefeng's feet shook quickly, and gold dust rose into the sky, forming a hard wall. Using the hardness of gold, he abruptly resisted the fierce fighting wind. In his opinion, it is more important to send the information here to Hefeng's body. Okay, Fei Jian muttered to herself in her heart, dispelling the idea. But now there is no method that is more effective than the technique of lifting the shadow clone. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Hefeng avatar nodded, indicating that it was indeed the case. When did he learn it? However, in his opinion, although his own chakra is not much, if there is such a strong support in the interim. This is gold. Although he knew that Hefeng was an amazing genius, he had never seen it before. Then, he turned his head and looked at Hefeng. Now you are just a shadow clone. Hefeng has used such ninjutsu. Gentle style. Forget it, now is not the time to entangle this matter. Against 5 shadows, you may not lose. After blinking, an incredible look appeared. But who knows, Fei Jian directly shook his head, and said firmly, since it is a shadow clone, then release this technique. Chapter 362 I was fooled by calling in the room one more. Advertisement. As the god of ninjutsu who developed the art of shadow clone. Fei Jian knows the basics of this ninjutsu. Although the shadow clone technique is a physical clone, my original intention of inventing this ninjutsu is to spy on intelligence. I thought to myself in my heart. Once the Hefeng avatar is here to release the ninjutsu. His memory, experience, all will be fed back to the body in an instant. And want to defeat the Shadow Master in front of him. The power of the Japanese style is very important. Yes, it is. In Feijian's mind, he didn't think that Hefeng could defeat the enemy he encountered this time. Relieve ninjutsu. However, Feijian's determination made Hefeng's avatar startled. Look up and down his injury. In his opinion, today's time cannot last long. Leave it to me here. Feijian looked at Hefeng's shadow avatar, and the two eyes faced each other, and he read a sense of distrust from his eyes. To some extent, the look in Hefeng's avatar made Feijian's mood complicated. Hefeng is indeed a genius that shocks the world. An 8-year-old kid like a monster. But anyway, he is the grandson of his eldest brother Zujian. Also his grandson. In the end, he was stared at by that kind of eyes. Myself. I was underestimated by the gentle breeze. Okay. However, Hefeng's avatar did not insist again and again. To be honest, at the same time facing 5 Shadow Masters and Ren Zuli who don't know where they are, even now I am not sure about it. Hefeng's avatar muttered to herself. The biggest weakness of the shadow clone is that the amount of chakra is fixed. Once consumed, ninjutsu will be lifted. During the 4th Ninja War, Naruto's shadow clone was able to resist the arrival of Uchiha Madara's tree world, thanks to Kyuubi lent chakra to him. Moreover, the 5 Shadow Masters themselves are very difficult to deal with. After the first 5 Shadows meeting, the tail beast was sealed between the pillars. In order to achieve the purpose of peace. With the lessons learned from Union Village and Cheyenne Village. It's hard to say that the other 2 villages will not put human strength on the battlefield. After thinking about it, Hefeng's avatar nodded and agreed. If it were my body, it would not be too late to return to the village. Advertisement. Hefeng's avatar made a low voice. Whether it is physical strength or chakra volume. The body is far superior to itself. If it were him, he would definitely be able to arrive in time. But before the shadow clone technique is lifted, let me help you, Master Shuma. Hefeng's avatar said loudly, and at the same time activated magnetic escape dust. The whole earth began to vibrate violently. The surrounding houses could not withstand this force and collapsed. Rao are well-informed movies. After seeing such a scene, they all took a sigh of relief. Hefeng, what kind of monster is this kid? This guy turned out to be just a shadow clone. Even if it is an entity clone, the power it possesses can't be compared with the ontology, right? How far has the real harmony grow? Feng and Lidu looked at each other with tying Shihei. I was shocked. They didn't even dream of it. Don't take a test at Zongnan. In less than a year, Hefeng has grown to such a terrifying level. It's simply appalling. In an instant, Hefeng's clone used the power of magnetic escape to extract a large amount of gold dust from the ground, and surrounded all these 5 shadow-level powerhouses. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi, formed a full tens of meters high gold fence. Don't give them a chance to escape. Next second. Hefeng's avatar slammed his hands together, Mu Dun Mu Ren's technique. Countless vines emerged from the gap under Hefeng's feet, gathered in one place, and became thick, big and hard. The giant wood giant tens of meters high appeared on the spot, looking down at the shadows below. Rao as these characters, after seeing Hefeng's Mu Dun, he also felt an indescribable sense of oppression. Monster. This 8-year-old kid is a real monster. This is the true thought of everyone present, including Chinsho Janjian. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would never believe that he could see those shadow rank powerhouses with such a shocked expression. However, Hefeng's moves are far more than that. After the giant of the wood appeared, Hefeng's avatar once again activated magnetic escape dust. A large amount of gold dust rose from his feet to the sky, covering the surface of the giant wood. Strengthen his defense and attack. Even Feng Ying Raido used Feng Dun to chop off the wooden man's neck. This guy. Lidu gritted his teeth and watched his wind escape on the dust, only leaving a crack. Advertisement. But it couldn't stop the fist that the wooden man fell. A huge shadow enveloped them. An ominous hunch came up spontaneously. It's incredible. Incredible. Who can believe that this is the power that an 8-year-old kid now possesses? It's time to lift the shadow clone technique. After launching this final blow, Kazuka's shadow clone, of course, also relieved the ninjutsu. There will be only some chakras left, as well as the memories and intelligence of this time. All feedback to the body. And on the battlefield. No, Toying Shihei roared, indicating that it is not the time to continue to hide his strength. I see, Master Hokage. Wu Mu took a deep breath, opened his hands, and aimed at the fist that fell on the face. Dust escaped the technique of stripping the original realm. Accompanied by the chakra of non-cohesive self, it releases a powerful attacking dust. A dazzling white light suddenly appeared from his hand. Approaching it as a translucent beam of energy. Instantly penetrated the wooden man's fist. But it only erased 2/3 of the area. When Hefeng's clone was disarming ninjutsu, he knew that the extra chakra was of no use, so he simply used it for this wooden escape and magnetic escape. Just the diameter of the wooden man's fist is as exaggerated as a dozen meters. Even Wu Dekan-un could not prevent the fist from falling. 2 or 3 can't breathe, the wooden man's fist falls on the ground like a thunder. The entire Konoha Yin village trembled violently. The gold dust surrounding them collapsed even more. The invisible shock waves spread out like ripples. Sweeping this place, flying away countless ninjas from the place. The slightly weaker guy didn't even hum and fainted on the spot. In the door, both eyes were stunned, with a dumbfounded expression. Are all the shadow clones of Hefeng so strong? The mouth in the door gradually widened, as if it could fit a fist in. He never dreamed that Hefeng's shadow clone would have such a terrifying destructive power. He thought that it was just an entity clone and should not have much power. Myself. You got fooled. Damn it, I knew that a clone of Hefeng was so strong, and he would dispel a ghost. Chapter 363 Bamandungia on the way. 2 more. Advertisement. The northern forest of the country of fire. Border post. Hefeng is discussing the details of the re-signing of the peace agreement with the elders of Union Village. And it's coming to an end. Although the elders of Union Village had a lot of dissatisfaction, they were helpless. No matter how you say it, the people who control the overall situation now are Hefeng, not Union Village. However, at this moment, a flood of memories flooded into Hefeng's brain. Appeared out of thin air. How did his shadow clone and Sarutobi Hitomi return to Konoha Hidden Village? How did you defeat Renju and share your blessings with the future second-generation Fengying shaman? And what happened in the village? At this moment, all returned to Hefeng's body. Let him know the latest development of the First Ninja World War. I didn't expect that other shinobu villages would choose to join forces. Hefeng thought to himself. As a traverser, although he has not seen the plot of the First Ninja War, but from many memories and clues, he learned part of the First Ninja War. Undoubtedly, today's First Ninja World War is very different from the one in his impression. But, although the situation in Konoha Village is very unfavorable for the door, Hefeng did not show any anxiety. Although he led the Konoha Onbi ninja, he won the battle. But Union Village still retains a certain amount of combat power. Although the battle between ninjas will choose weapons such as kunai, the main ways to fight against each other are physique, illusion, and ninjutsu. In other words, with a little carelessness, the more than 200 Yunren who became prisoners are likely to make a counterattack. And did not sit down on his own. Something may go wrong. In any case, the elders of Union Village should not be allowed to realize their worries. Thinking of this, the corner of Hefeng's mouth rose, and a strong and confident smile appeared. Until the signing of the peace agreement, the elders of Union Village were sent away. The gentle breeze only breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he immediately called Tuan Zhang and others to briefly emphasize the current situation in Muyayan Village. As expected by the wind. When he finished talking about his situation, Danzo and others changed their faces one after another. Looks worried. It seems that we have to return to the village as soon as possible. Xiaochun said without thinking. On the contrary, Danzo and Yan looked a little embarrassed. Strictly speaking, the two of them are still Konoha Nakanen. The strength is not so powerful. Advertisement. In the First Ninja World War, it was basically the same as cannon fodder. Even if he hurried back to the village now, they don't know how they can help. No need. Seeing the ninjas gathered around him, Hefeng shook his head without thinking. I will guard the village. Your task is to protect the border. Although we re-signed a peace agreement with Union Village, no one can say whether they will make a comeback. While talking with the breeze, the index and middle fingers of both hands were brought together, shadow clone technique. With a bang, a cloud of white mist emerged from him and dissipated to both sides. An entity clone identical to Hefeng appeared out of thin air. Then, the shadow clone of Hefeng said nothing, and sat cross-legged on the ground, staying still. Start to absorb natural energy. Finish some last trivia. Hefeng secretly left the border post, confirmed the direction a little, and said goodbye to Xiaochun and the others. Quickly returned to Konoha. The first door. Open the door, open. In order to ensure the safety of the door, Hefeng determined the shortest route back to the village through the information returned by the shadow clone. Then, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi opened the 8 doors Dunjia directly. In any case, the speed of Baman Dunjia is amazing. Rao is the sand of Gara, unable to withstand Shaoli's attack. And now, although he is only 8 years old physically, his muscle strength is stronger than that of Shaoli. After a few can't breathe, the gentle breeze guides chakra, repeatedly breaking through the body's restriction. The 6th door, Jingmun, open. In an instant, Hefeng burst out with amazing green energy, and his skin turned red due to hyperemia. Using the 8-gate Dunjia to drive, looking at the entire ninja realm, I am afraid that there will be no second person to be found. Hefeng muttered in his heart. With a strong kick on the toes, the whole person disappeared directly in place. Because the earth couldn't withstand the force of the wind, it instantly fell apart, leaving a crack like a spider's web. The invisible impact spread to the surroundings. Hefeng rushed to the village at an unprecedented speed. Just moving at a high speed will agitate the air, forming a terrifying air current, and crush it toward the surroundings. Damage the ground to a certain degree. Wait for me, in the interim. Zefeng's eyes narrowed slightly, and his speed was as fast as lightning. But, advertisement. The gentle move still caught someone's attention. His body is dark, hidden in the dark, watching the movement of the breeze. It is the biggest man behind the ninja world. Black absolutely. He didn't even dream of it. After Senjujuma and Uchiha Madara, a monster like Japanese wind will be born in the ninja world. At only 8 years old, he has the strength of a film class. The ninjutsu mastered is even more diverse. And each one is extremely powerful. But this time, even a monster like you can't retreat all over. That guy in the door doesn't even have much chakra volume. Even if you return to the village now, he cannot help. In other words, the enemy you will face next is almost the most powerful in this era. The corners of Heiju's mouth rose, as if he had foreseen Hefeng's death. Yes, it is. In his eyes, it is impossible to defeat the 5 shadow-level powerhouses because of the current harmony. What's more, each of these ninjas mastered powerful ninjutsu. Whether it is combat thinking or actual combat experience, they should be stronger than the gentle breeze. Let me see your tragic death, gentle. At the same time, in the cracks of hell, Uchiha Madara hides here, but he is always watching the movements of the First Ninja War. Especially the gentle breeze. He is now full of expectations for Hefeng's performance. Really, Hefeng's body has returned to the village. Uchiha Madara couldn't help but murmur. Just the shadow clone defeated a human Zhu Li, as well as the fellow shaman. But the Shihei gang, anyhow, are all the first generations who established Shinobu Village. It shouldn't disappoint me too much. Uchiha Madara's eyes half squinted. After recovering from this period of the world, he can now use the technique of revolving elephants again. And Baiju is inexhaustible. It's best if you can kill Hefeng. If you can't, then I can only let my elephant turn technique go out in person. Uchiha Madara's mouth raised, and he muttered to himself. Chapter 364 Go to Hell, Thousands of Hands. Advertisement. Sensho Kenma, who holds the title of God of Ninjutsu, is definitely a great hero in the world of ninjutsu. But even for him, facing 5 strong shadow ranks at the same time, it was quite difficult. After a fight, he was directly lifted off by the Earth Dragon Bullet technique of tying Shihei. If it is only one-on-one, the Water Dragon Bullet technique in the door can completely block the offensive of this Earth Shadow. But facing 5 people at the same time, even in the interim, there is still powerlessness. Most of his armor was destroyed, so that it lost its defensive function. Sarutobi Hizen wanted to rush up to help a few times, but now he was just Konoha's shinobu. Far from the power of the peak period. All of a sudden, the situation took a turn for the worse, which was extremely detrimental to the time. Suck. 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 Phaegian got up from the ruins, endured the severe pain from his body, squatted on the spot, raised his head to guard against the actions of the shadows. He breathed heavily, feeling dry and itchy in his throat. Although I don't want to admit it, with my current strength, I'm afraid I can't solve even one. I thought to myself in my heart. Now he can use the technique of Flying Thunder God once. If it's one-on-one, he is sure to kill the opponent. However, Toying, Fengying, and Shuiying seem to have reached some kind of agreement. Become very united. They cooperate with each other and complement each other. Even in the interim, no flaws can be found. In fact, from the time he fought against these shadows, he kept looking for opportunities. The results all ended in failure. Give up. In the interim, Fengying Lidu folded his arms and stared at the room in the ruins. You and I know how far the border of the country of fire is from here. Hefeng, that kid, there is no time to get here. But, Lido couldn't help shook his head, the corners of his mouth raised, and a faint smile appeared. Although you are far less than your brother Zuma, you are also a ninja famous in the Warring States period. Now I trust myself and the village's hopes on an 8-year-old kid. In the interim, you have fallen. From the standpoint of Lidu, this war, Konoha Hidden Village is already gone. It would take a day at the earliest to get here from the border of the country of fire. Hefeng did not have time to save the door. When he came back here, all he saw would be corpses in the door. Hateful. Sarutobi was gritted his teeth, unwilling, but helpless. Advertisement. His current strength is too weak to be able to intervene in the battle with these shadow-level powerhouses. On the contrary, part of the energy needs to be dispersed. To make sure that Sarutobi Hitoshi is not harmed. And other Konoha ninjas, even the patriarchs of various families, have their own enemies to deal with. I can't spare my energy to get involved in this battle. No matter how you say. The enemy Konoha faced this time. All 3 ninja villages, Yinyan Village, Sheian Village, and Wuyin Village joined forces. Among them, there are some small ninja villages who have also been bewitched and joined the war. Shot Konoha. You are indeed a respectable ninja, but unfortunately, this is Konoha's destiny. Shihi took a step forward, spread his hands, and looked sorry for Konoha, Konoha Hidden Village, too sharp. To this day, Ishikawa still remembers Uchiha Madara. How did that man unilaterally tore up the peace agreement between Konohane Village and Yinyan Village, and asked Yinyan Village to merge into Konohane Village? As a result, Feng Shui turns around now. The fate of Konoha Yin Village is in their hands. Moreover, these shadows of them are not soft-hearted guys. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, they have the same purpose. That is to eradicate Konoha Hidden Village. Recognize the status quo. In the interim, Hefeng, that kid, can't come back. Suddenly, Shuiying Balian made seals on both hands, releasing the best water ninjutsu in the room. Water escaped the art of Water Dragon Bomb. With Bai Lian's burst of drink, clear water surged from under his feet, rushing straight up, and instantly transformed into a giant dragon. His eyes flushed, his blood plate opened his mouth wide, his teeth and claws swallowed towards the room. In his opinion, there is nothing more ironic than the current situation. As a master of water escape ninjutsu, with his own talent, Feijian forcibly reduced the cumbersome Water Dragon Bomb technique of sealing seals to only 3 seals. Rao himself, the first generation of Water Shadow, couldn't do this kind of thing either. He needs at least 6 seals to activate this ninjutsu. But, the man who is best at water escape is now going to die in the hands of water escape. Die, in the middle of nowhere. The other shadows stared at Feijian, even reluctant to blink their eyes, for fear that they would miss the scene of the tragic death of the ninjutsu genius in Phagian. Moreover, they are all very sure in their hearts. There is no doubt that he will die. No one can save him. Master Phagian. Advertisement. Sarutobi Hizen's face changed in shock, and he quickly used earthen ninjutsu to defend against him. However, now, where is the scale of ninjutsu comparable to that of Shui Ying? In an instant, the earth flow wall cast by Sarutobi Hizen was pierced by a water dragon. A dragon chant burst out from the huge mouth. It's not close at hand. You can only use that. She frowned tightly, and had no choice but to throw out the last kunai printed with the Thunder God technique, trying to be able to replace an opponent at the last minute. Even if there is only one. Also good. Hefeng, the future and hope of the village, I trust you. Feijian thought to himself in his heart, and firmly believed that if it was a gentle breeze, it would definitely be able to turn the tide. However, just when the Flying Thunder God technique was about to be launched and disappeared in the same place, a brown earth dragon suddenly fell from the sky. The size is not the same as that of Balian's water dragon. In any case, during the Warring States period, they were as famous as the Chinsho clan. In his opinion, it is possible to launch this scale of earth dragon bullet art so quickly. Except for him, the first generation of earth shadows. This degree of earth escape. Hey, I didn't expect that Muyayan village still hides a master of soil escape. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Lido squinted his eyes halfway, marveling at the strength of this earth escape earth dragon bullet technique. There are now one or two masters, it is not a strange thing. He pressed Balian's water dragon bomb technique to the ground, not allowing it to move forward. The image of Uchiha Madara came to mind immediately. Presumably, it should be a master in the Uchiha clan. He opened his mouth, went straight to the neck of the water dragon, and took a bite. The Shuiying Balian who watched this scene immediately opened his eyes, with incredible expressions in his eyes. Obviously. But who knows, when Bai Lian and Shihi face each other, they see the shock and confusion in each other's eyes. It's not the room saved by Tying Shihei. No second person can be found. Bai Lian rolled his throat, swallowed nervously, and quickly turned to look at Tying Shihei. Chapter 365 The war is on the verge of. Advertisement. Just when Ryatu and others thought they were the masters of the Uchiha clan came to support. A figure that they did not expect suddenly appeared, and fell with the menacing earth dragon. For a while, the eyes of everyone present were deeply attracted by this person. Hey, gentle. Bai Lian blinked vigorously, seriously wondering if she had seen something wrong. The person who just used the earth dragon bullet technique to rescue the door is not someone else, but the gentle breeze who should be on the border of the country of fire. Are you kidding me? And what is his current state? Lido looked intently and noticed that Hefeng's whole body was exuding green energy, and his skin became red because of the redness. How unreasonable is this 8-year-old kid? Another shadow clone. Shihi frowned immediately, the technique of the earth dragon bomb just now made him a bit eye-opener. An 8-year-old kid could unleash that level of ninjutsu. His chakra volume is simply amazing. It's just an 8-year-old kid. Lido still put his hands on his chest, and looked up and down the breeze with a calm attitude. It's not enough to be dying now. No matter how he winds up the prodigy, it shocks the world. It's just an 8-year-old kid. Is it possible that his strength can deal with 3 shadows at the same time? In today's situation, fierce fighting really can't imagine, he will lose. They will not lose, and they cannot lose. The demise of Konoha Yin village is doomed. No one can change it. Including the monster imp, the Japanese style. Gentle style. Wu and the next 3 generations of Shuiying looked at the Hefeng at the same time. For some reason, as the Hefeng descended from the sky, they suddenly had an unknown premonition in their hearts. And Sarutobi Hizen even sat down with a plop, and tasted a sigh of relief. For the current Sarutobi Hizen, the existence of the wind is undoubtedly a powerful centering needle. Thank God, you are here at the right time. If the gentle breeze is 1 second late, I am afraid that I will be killed by the opponent. And immediately after that, it was myself. Hefeng, you. Feijian was even more stunned at this time, as the present Hokage of Konoha Hidden Village. He knew very well in his heart how far the border of the country of fire was from here. Advertisement. Hefeng unexpectedly arrived in such a short time. This guy, an unprecedented thought came to life spontaneously, letting Jian stare at the wind. Are you? Did you use Bamandunjia to rush over here? I couldn't help taking a breath, my brain suddenly felt blank. The scalp is numb. After being developed by oneself, the 8-door Dunjia was directly listed as a forbidden technique. He was actually used by the little devil, Hefeng, to drive his way. This is too ridiculous. And judging from the green energy in Hefeng, he now at least opened the 8-gate Dunjia to the 6th gate, Jingmun. In this state, any movement will cause muscle tears. It is no exaggeration to say that Bamandunjia should be a forbidden technique that should not be used as a last resort. As a result, it was used by the gentle breeze. Looking at the entire Konoha Hidden Village. No, even the entire ninja world, the ninja who can do this kind of thing, I'm afraid you are the only one, Hefeng. As I talked, I softened my lower body and slumped directly on the ground. The nerves that had been tight, got a little relief. Although I don't want to admit it, but, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, the 8-year-old Zephyr is already an out-and-out monster. Strength far exceeds oneself. If it were him, maybe, he could really beat the shadows in front of him. My lord, you can have a good rest. The corner of Hefeng's mouth rose up, and said towards the door. Originally, what he was most worried about was his failure to arrive in time. Let Fagian, unable to escape the fate of mortal. However, now, seeing that there is nothing wrong in the interim, Hefeng's biggest worry naturally disappeared. Although the injury is not minor, there is no fatal injury at all. Hefeng glanced at the door and confirmed the injury on his body. But there's one more thing, Master Shuma, are they like this with Grandma Mito? Hefeng continued to ask. Although they didn't get along for a long time, these people have always regarded themselves as their own. Man has soul. If possible, Hefeng naturally hopes that these so-called family members will be safe and sound. Don't worry, Hefeng, they are all in a very safe place now. I answered without thinking about it. Like Hefeng, Fagian puts his family first. Advertisement. Before the war started, he sent Mito and others to a safe place. However, these people are not ordinary ninjas. Among them, either are the ones who established the ninja village in troubled times. Either it is a ninja who is qualified to grow into a shadow. Jian kindly reminded me. I know. Hefeng nodded slightly, took a step forward with his left foot, exuding an extremely powerful aura, and squeezed it forward. Because of the sixth gate, just such an inconspicuous move is enough to lift the air. I saw the ground at the foot of the gentle wind suddenly torn apart, leave a shocking crack. Grunt. Lido and the others couldn't help rolling their throats and swallowed nervously. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never have imagined that they would feel such a strong sense of oppression from an 8-year-old kid. It's amazing. Bai Lian couldn't help sighing, he now understood completely. Why did the guy Ghost Lantern Wanyu die in Hefeng's hands? Although this kid is only 8 years old this year, he does already possess the strength of a shadow-level powerhouse. And, the gentle breeze that appeared in front of them was the Numenon. Not a shadow clone, it can be compared. It's really a hero. Ishikawa frowned, except for Uchiha Madara and Senjuzuzuma. He had never felt this way in the third ninja. Hefeng, an 8-year-old kid, is really a monster through and through. It's not easy to deal with. It's just a kid after all. Lido said without thinking, there is nothing to worry about at all. His actual combat experience is definitely not as good as ours. However, even though Lido said so, he was watching the wind with a very vigilant attitude. Obviously, even he didn't dare to despise the current breeze. As for the 3 generations of water shadows without following the future. Not to mention, even the first generation movies are so nervous, how can they underestimate the harmony? It's terrible. Sarutobi Hizen stared at Hefeng with all his attention, and he couldn't bear to blink his eyes. With the emergence of the gentle breeze, the situation of the entire battlefield suddenly changed astonishingly. This is Sarutobi Risen, never expected. The war is about to start. Chapter 366 Dust Escape, the technique of stripping the original world. Advertisement. Hefeng, be careful. Among these people, either the ones who founded Shinobu Village, or those who were given high hopes in the future. The atmosphere became tense, and it was natural not to think that these ninjas in front of him would look at Hefeng's age and choose to let him go. In the Warring States period, ninjas who were smaller than the Japanese Wind might have accumulated countless actual combat experience on the battlefield. If you are reckless, conceited, and desperate, you are likely to be gentle. The first generation of Fengying in Cheyenne Village, fighting fiercely, is good at Fengdu ninjutsu, and has extremely destructive power. At the same time, there is a psychic beast, a sickle and ferret, which can razing the entire forest to the ground in an instant. Squatting in the ruins, he now has little physical strength and chakra volume. You can only use the second stage of Thunder God at most once. This is the only chance, I have to choose carefully. Of course, even though he is physically weak now, he still decides to give Hefeng help wherever he can. Such as intelligence. There was almost no hesitation, and all the information about these ninjas was revealed. Convenient and Wind can better understand them. However, among the people present, the ninja who values intelligence is not the only one in the room. When he talked about tying Shihei, Wu Wu directly raised his hands and aimed at the door, dust escape the technique of peeling the original realm. With Wu's burst of shout, a dazzling white light suddenly appeared from his hands, illuminating half of the battlefield. Immediately after, it was a cylindrical enchantment that burst out from Wu's hand and went straight to the door. In an instant, all objects on the path were separated into atomic states. Extinct. Even the first generation movies who established Shinobu Village were shocked after seeing Wu's Chendon. Old man Shihei, it looks like your Yinyan village has a successor. The Lidu on the side couldn't help but vomit, and was very surprised. Wu's Chendon not only has a wide range of attacks, but also has amazing power. Rao is the wind escape he is best at, and he cannot be compared with it. But, the speed of the breeze is faster than that of Wu Chenyan. At the moment when his dust escape was about to swallow the door room, Hefeng relied on the high-speed movement of the 8-door Dunja to grab the door room's arm. Then, using the strange power of the Thousand Hands clan, like throwing a toy, he threw the room out. Finally, with the Flying Thunder God technique that remained on the body, he used the Flying Thunder God technique to get out of the dusty attack range with him. The whole process went smoothly. Even Wu was surprised. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would be unbelievable. Advertisement. Such an excellent ninja is only 8 years old. It's a fate. Rolling his throat, But not caring about his own safety, he hurriedly emphasized to Hefeng, the man with a bandage wrapped all over his body is named Wu. He not only possesses strong perception ability, but also developed a blood succession elimination that is above the blood succession limit. It is formed by the fusion of the 3 chakra attributes of wind, earth and fire. You have also seen the power of the attack just now. The consequences of being hit by that move are no joke. There was a slight pause in the door. If there is anything wrong with Shihei, then he will definitely become the second generation soil shadow of Yenian village. In other words, the meaning of Shujian is warning and wind. Never underestimate this ninja. In fact, Hefeng knows nothing better than Feijian. During the Fourth Ninja World War, Onoki and Gaara reluctantly sealed him. It can be seen that Wu's strength is also extremely powerful among all the shadows. The most important is, in the Fourth Ninja World War, Onoki's highlight moments were all thanks to the dust he had mastered. Although the current Wu reincarnating infinite chakra under the blessing of rebirth and self-recovery. But he is undoubtedly at his peak now. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi, Hefeng thought to himself, and at the same time glanced at Tying Shihei. Since Chen Dun is the undeveloped blood successor eliminated, it means that Shihei does not know this ninjutsu. Excited, Hefeng quickly scanned the 5 shadow class powerhouses in front of him. Not only did he not have the slightest fear, but he was very excited. You know, another person with this kind of treatment. But Uchiha Madara, bring it on. Hefeng took a step forward and patted hard with both hands. Mu Dun, the art of the wooden man. Since the opponent is 5 shadows, I am not bullying if I use Mu Dun. The gentle breeze couldn't help muttering in his heart, and the majestic chakra volume burst out at this moment. Earthquake. The 5 shadow level powerhouses standing in front of him changed their expressions in shock. Today's Zephyr, but entity. The power possessed is not a shadow clone, it can be compared. Suddenly, a wooden figure with a height of 100 meters was greeted by everyone. He held up the door room on the side and Sarutobi Rishang all. Advertisement. Hefeng folded his hands on his chest, stood on top of the wooden man's head, looking down at the 5 shadows condescendingly, with the corners of his mouth rising, and a smile appeared. Let me see the strength of you guys. This is. I looked around and realized that I couldn't see the whole picture of the wooden man. The 5 shadows below have become quite small. It made him involuntarily think of his eldest brother Zuma. Even when Feijian turned his head to look at Hefeng again, it seemed that the person standing there was not his 8-year-old grandson, but big brother between the pillars. Between the door. In the next second, he rubbed his eyes vigorously and looked over again, still feeling that the figure between the pillars was covering Hefeng's body, overlapping with him. Gentle style. The Sarutobi Hazaki on the side also had an expression similar to that of Shwema. In his opinion, today's Japanese style is already the hero of Konoha Hidden Village. Below, because the wooden figure is too tall, Konoha ninjas in every corner of the village have noticed this move. That ninjutsu is wooden escape. After seeing the wooden man technique used by Hefeng, they all exclaimed. There was a gentle breeze, and he said to the 5 shadows below. Without exception, Konoha ninja became excited one after another. Toying roared without thinking. On the battlefield. You kid, you really are a monster. Under the control of Hefeng, the wooden man directly clenched his fist and slammed down at the 5 shadows below. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. You are all shadows, don't say that I am bullying you like this. For a time, the emergence of the gentle breeze greatly aroused everyone's fighting spirit. Hefeng is 8 years old, but he is also a super strong in the minds of these ninjas. It's Master Hefeng. Master Hefeng is back. Konoha will definitely win. Great. Master Hefeng perfectly inherited Mu Dun from the original Hokage. Especially the people of the Thousand Hands clan. Let the morale of Konoha ninjas rise. The same power as Master Zujian. Chapter 367 The combined attack of the first generation and the second generation of Toying. Advertisement. Soil escape super light and heavy rock art. Seeing the Japanese wooden man swinging his fist down, Shihei and Wu suddenly spoke in unison, using the same ninjutsu. The technique of super light and heavy rock can instantly reduce its own weight and increase speed, making it easy for the operator to fly in the air. I saw Shihei and Wu soaring into the sky, passing by with Mu Ren's fist. The two looked at each other and reached a tacit understanding without unnecessary words. The two sides made eye contact and nodded at each other. No. Put your fingers in front of your chest, and bring your fingers together, no dust is clogged. With the activation of this ninjutsu, Wu's body began to disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. This is also the origin of Wu's title, No Man. Once the dust-free fascination is activated, no matter how good the perception ability is, it will not be able to detect his existence. Disappeared. The face of Sarutobi Hizen who was guarding Hefeng suddenly changed. He knew in his heart how weak he was that he couldn't intervene in this battle at all. But, he still does what he can, using his perception ability to help the wind to lock his opponent. As a result, Wu not only disappeared, but also his terrifying chakra disappeared without a trace, unable to perceive it at all. At the same time, Shihei also launched a counterattack. Although he is the first generation of Tu Ying, he will not be able to escape, but his strength still cannot be underestimated. Tu Dun Gang Li style technique. Hefeng, let the old man come and see, which of the giants we have made is stronger. As Shihei's voice fell, the earth began to tremble constantly. The rock protruded from the ground, forming a brown rock giant, with his palm outstretched and a fist against the wooden man's falling. Rumble. The rock giant greeted each other with his palms, and the two forces collided strongly, stirring up the surrounding air, transforming it into an invisible impact, and spreading out in all directions. Rao Shi Balian and Lidu also had to retreat quickly to avoid being involved in this force. That guy Shihei is really going crazy. Bai Lian couldn't help but complain. Although Wuyin Village and Yanyan Village have always been at odds, Balian has always recognized Shihei's strength. Boy, next, you have to stand firm. Shihei levitated beside the rock giant, put his palm against it, and then yelled at the gentle breeze. Soil escape aggravated rock art. Next second, Shihei used his unique earthen ninjutsu to strengthen the power of the rock giant. Advertisement. I saw the rock giant clasped his 5 fingers back, holding the wooden man firmly, not giving him a chance to escape. With 5 fingers in the other hand, he grabbed a fist and hit the wooden man's cheek with a punch. In order to maximize the power of this punch, Shihei continued to release 2 dun. Soil escape super aggravated rock art. Rumble. Accompanied by loud noises, the wooden man's footsteps began to retreat involuntarily. With the wind, the door, and the Sarutobi Hizuchi, the chakra had to be concentrated on the soles of his feet to hold the ground firmly. Sarutobi Rishi's eyes stared like bull's eyes, and his mouth widened as if he could easily squeeze a fist into it. He suddenly felt a deep feeling that he shouldn't be in such a place. What kind of battle between ninjas is there? This is clearly a fight between gods. An ordinary ninja like him is simply not qualified to appear here. There was also a stormy sea in Feijian's heart. When he fought with Shihei and the others just now, the other party did not use such a powerful ninja. Sure enough, my current strength is not enough to force their true strength. Muttered to himself, his mind was strongly impacted. He wanted to do something for Hefeng, but he couldn't intervene in this battle. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On the contrary, it is a gentle breeze, and still looks calm and unhurried. If Tang Tang Toying can't handle even a wooden figure of this level, then I would be too disappointed. In fact, the Mu Dun currently used by Hefeng is just the most common one. There is neither infusion of fairy chakras nor reinforcement with magnetic escape. But, a visible attack is not a problem. The really tricky place is that there should be no such guy. Hefeng thought to himself, but he didn't think that Shihei wanted to fight himself. Otherwise, there is no need to use a dust-free plug. If he didn't guess wrong, Wu Wu is now looking for the best opportunity, trying to use the dust to sneak attack. Thinking of this, Kazuka glanced at Feijian and Sarutobi Hizen. If it's just yourself, it will be easier. But now we have to protect 2 people who have little combat power. Use that, Hefeng murmured, and regardless of his reaction with Hizen, he was about to pierce his thumb, and smear the blood that oozes out on the palm of his other hand. At the same time, the rock giant saw the wooden man start to retreat, and instead clenched the wooden man's fist tighter. Advertisement. Next second, the rock giant yanked hard and drew the wooden man directly in front of him. If Hefeng hadn't caught Sarutobi Hizuki in time, he would definitely be thrown off by the violent shaking. Thanks, thank you. Sarutobi Hizen's face was pale, and at that moment, he really thought he was going to die. In any case, the top of the wooden man's head is 100 meters high from the ground. And on the ground, there are still several shadow-level powerhouses. But, Hefeng couldn't pay attention to Sarutobi Hizen's thanks, his hands quickly sealed, and finally he slapped his palm against the top of the wooden man's head. Psychic art. With a bang, a cloud of white mist exploded from Hefeng's hand and spread to the surroundings. At the same time, the rock giant suddenly loosened the wooden man's fist, leaned forward, and showed a warm hug to the wooden man, holding him firmly in his arms. Xiao Hefeng, what's the situation now? And the toad channeled by the wind is not another toad, it is Shen Zuo and Shi Ma. After all, the current toad Wentai hasn't grown up yet. Not of much use. Boy F G. Deeply looking around, he couldn't help taking a breath. In this case, there is no need to wait for the wind to explain the situation. Just take a look at it and you will find it. They are in the Konoha hidden village. Moreover, this place is completely reduced to a battlefield. Zephyr needs their fighting power. But at this moment, a dazzling white light suddenly shone from above, making people unable to open their eyes. What is this again? Shen Zuo quickly blocked his vision with his frog hand. It's the dust escape, Hefeng said without thinking. He grabbed the 2 toads, Shen Zuo and Jima, and then, relying on the high-speed movement of Hachim and Dunjia, kicked Fema and Rizhen with 1 kick. The result is just as Hefeng expected. The first generation of Toying used his rock giant to catch the wooden man, just to give no chance to create. After all, the dust escape he developed is much stronger than any kind of soil escape. In an instant, a semi-transparent cylinder fell from the sky, and instantly penetrated the back of the head of the giant of wood. Chapter 368 Spike the second generation of Toying no. Advertisement. First use the rock giant to block the action of the wooden man, and then use the dust to destroy it. Well, it is indeed a very smart tactic. With the wind in the air, the 2 sun slash quickly drew out of the dusty attack range. I praised Shihei and Wu for their cooperation. But Hefeng also found some problems. In terms of true strength, the strength of these shadows will definitely not lose to the 5 shadows during the Fourth World War. But they are far inferior to the shadows at that time, and they cooperate with each other. Hefeng couldn't help thinking in his heart. This is no wonder. The nature of the First Ninja Wars and the Fourth Ninja Wars is completely different. In the Fourth Ninja World War, all the ninjas are united, all working hard to defeat Uchiha Madara, and the Five Shadows let go of their prejudices. However, this time is different. Although these people are united together, they have ghosts in their hearts. Everyone hopes that their village can be divided into more benefits. According to Hefeng, when Shihei and Wu launched a joint attack, these shadows could completely block their way of retreat. Or launch other feints. However, these shadows did nothing. Completely handed over the first battle to Yinyan village. This battle is easier than I thought. Hefeng couldn't help but sighed, and quickly threw the door, Rijin aside, and then asked Shensaku, Shima, who was standing on his shoulders, isn't it okay? Just right, it's okay. Shen Zuo and Ji-Ma unanimously spoke in unison. When the gentle breeze drew away from the dust, the two psychic beasts from Miaomu Mountain were not idle. They merged with the Japanese body, and began to help him absorb the natural energy around him. Okay. Hefeng nodded his head heavily and entered the fairy mode directly. Orange eyeshadow emerged. Because of the fusion relationship with Shen Zuo and Ji-Ma, Hefeng enters the fairy mode, so naturally there is no need to stay still. At the same time, his 3-go jade riding wheel eyes quickly turned and upgraded to a kaleidoscope riding wheel eyes. He raised his sight by another level. Although the dust-free maze can hide your body, your position will be exposed when you use the dust escape. Hefeng made a low voice, turned his head to look in the direction where the dust escaped. I have to say that Wu's dust escape is quite astonishing, and it penetrates the gentle wooden man in a flash, causing it to lose its ability to move. Advertisement. But, his position was completely exposed to Hefeng's line of sight. Call. In an instant, the majestic chakra volume burst out from Hefeng, and immediately materialized, forming a semi-complete Suzuo Nengu. Next second, Susao Nohu shook his right arm forcefully, and grabbed it directly at Wu Ju. Use yourself as a bait. Seeing the menacing Susanna, he frowned and reacted to the gentle tactics. However, at this distance, it is not difficult to avoid the attacks of the wind. In any case, he now has blessed the art of super light and heavy rock. Not only can his body fly, but his speed has also been greatly improved. But what Wu Wanwan didn't expect was that when he was about to retreat and use the dust-free fan again, he noticed his feet and suddenly felt a sense of falling. This situation made him feel tight, and he looked down subconsciously. I saw the golden chain and I didn't know when it was wrapped around my ankle. When, Wu suddenly felt that his brain was blank, and he really couldn't understand when Hefeng had grasped himself. Just when you use dust escape, nothing. Hefeng said without thinking. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. Shendun is different from ordinary ninjutsu. You need to condense the geometry in your hand before you can release it. And when releasing the dust, the surgeon had to keep moving. This is probably Chen Dun's few weaknesses. As a traverser, he will naturally not miss such details. Coupled with Kagura's mind-eye perception ability, but he locked his position for an instant without showing up. It's not difficult at all. It was also at that time that Hefeng used his own magnetic escape and placer gold to create a very expensive chain for nothing. Although this is not enough to make Wu completely lose his mobility, it is for the shadow-level powerhouse. Even a momentary distraction will play a key role. Click. The semi-complete body must have 5 fingers, and he grasped the suspended Wu firmly in the air. Then, Hefeng glared hard at his left eye, and blood flowed out from the corner of his eye. Next second, in Susanoo's hand, a black flame burned instantly. Amaterasu. Even if I force my eyes to be damaged, he will not hesitate to do so. Advertisement. If it weren't for Uchiha Madara's buff of reincarnation and the ability of reincarnation to absorb ninjutsu, he was afraid that he would not be given a second by the dust of Onoki. The most important thing is that after Onoki regained his self, he used dust to wipe out the 25 Uchiha Madara avatars in one fell swoop. Although I have mastered the Thunder Dunge Chakra Mode, Susanoo Nohu, and Magnetic Dunge Dust, 3 types of ninjutsu known as absolute defense. But I can't do things like hard Gangshin escape. The breeze could not help whispering in his heart. Based on this and that kind of relationship, he felt that it would be better to solve it as soon as possible for a ninja like no one. Then, after locking Wu's position with magnetic escape placer gold, Hefeng directly uses Suzuo Nengu to grab it further, not giving him a chance to break free. Then, finish it with Amaterasu. Although the ninjutsu of Amaterasu is known as an undead ninjutsu, most of the time, either the caster releases water, no. It should be said to be released into the sea. Either the opponent is too strong. In addition to the eyes of reincarnation, and other methods such as the chakra coat of the tail beast, Zefeng could not even think of any evasion of Amaterasu's damage. Ah! Soon, the black flame of Amaterasu swallowed Wu. The cry makes the scalp numb. In any case, Wu is his most important disciple. The rock giant blasted past with a punch, smashing the gentle wind Suzuo Nengu away. The wind and shadow fierce fighting below and the water escape White Lotus were even more dumbfounded. Very miserable. However, Wu's whole body was clenched by Suzuo Nengu's fists, and his hands couldn't make a seal. Rumble. Never let him die here. He hurriedly manipulated the rock giant, and shot towards Suzuo Noji. At the critical moment, Toying Shihei was the first to react. The rock giant still shot and caught him. Immediately afterwards, Shihi turned his head and roared downwards, letting Shuiying Balian use his water escape to extinguish the black flame. The fire spread to his whole body, burning every inch of his skin. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Water Shadow. It was the first time that they had seen such a terrifying fire escape ninjutsu, and its power was amazing. You can't break the Japanese style of ninjutsu at all. I saw that Suzuo was able to loosen his 5 fingers, and fell down without consciousness. Chapter 369, A flame that can't be extinguished by water. Done. Advertisement. By Lien. Seeing Wu, who was burned all over by Amaterasu, he was in desperation and had to ask for help from Shuiying Balian, who was good at water escape ninjutsu. At the same time, I was worried about Wu's safety. Got it. Although Bai Lian was reluctant to do so, considering the current strong relationship, he still honestly performed the water escape ninjutsu. But, it's better to let Wuzuo be here. Bai Lian muttered to herself that Ghost Lantern Huan Yu was the best candidate for the second generation of Water Shadow. As a result, because of the relationship with the wind, he died tragically in the country of Poland. This time made Bai Lian depressed. When he is born, Wuyin village's combat power is likely to be affected. If nothing is dead here, there will only be benefits for the future development of Wuyin village, but no harm. The demise of Konoha Yin village is already destined. Thinking of this, Bai Lian deliberately slowed down her Jie Yin. Wait until there is no fall halfway to complete the Jie Yin. Water escape, water breakthrough. As Balian burst into a shout, clear water emerged from the ground, rising rapidly like a tornado. Catch nothing easily. However, the unexpected situation was not discovered. Not to mention the slightest reduction in the fire burning on Wu's body, even in the water, the black flame is still burning. Tormented Wu quickly lost consciousness. The bandage on his body burned out, replaced by unburned skin. The scars left when fighting with Ghost Lantern Wanyu. Open, are you kidding me? Bai Lian's eyes widened, staring at the scene before her eyes, her brain only felt numb in her scalp. As the first generation of Water Shadow in Wuyin village, his water escape ninjutsu is naturally self-evident and powerful. As a result, he faced the fire escape of Peaceful Wind. Actually, can't be extinguished. This kind of thing simply subverted Bai Lian's cognition of water escape and fire escape. This unscientific. In fact, it was not only Bai Lian who was shocked by the scene before her eyes. Everyone present showed incredible expressions. Watching Wu in the water was burned to death by the breezy fire. Amaterasu is different from ordinary ninjutsu. Before the target is burned out, ordinary ninjutsu can't stop it at all. The gentle breeze fell from the sky. Advertisement. In his opinion, no, this time is bound to die. But, except for the wind, the ninjas present naturally didn't know anything about Amaterasu. Ninjutsu that can burn in water. Sarutobi Hitoshi couldn't help but exclaimed, how did he do this? As a ninja who is proficient in 5 escape ninjutsu, Sarutobi Hizen is naturally quite familiar with water escape and fire escape. But it was the first time he saw such a weird scene. It's almost like a monster. The common sense of this world is casually overturned by the gentle breeze. Master Phagian, have you seen it? Sarutobi Hizen rolled his throat and couldn't help but ask the room where he was breathing heavily. Because of him now, he seriously suspected that he had hallucinations. As a result, what Sarutobi-san got, but he rolled his eyes. His current body is indeed a bit tired, but he is not blind. How could I not see it? But, Balian's water escape ninjutsu is not under me. Phagian could not help muttering to himself in his heart. As the person who created the Wuyin village, Balian was once famous in the world of ninja, and even he was amazed by his handy water escape. Read more at hotmtl novel.zi. Moreover, in the previous battle, Bai Lian hardly contributed. These shadows are said to be teaming up, but in fact they all have ghosts. No one has come up with real skills. Otherwise, he would have been wiped out by a few of them. In other words, the current Balian still maintains its peak combat power. The next 3 generations of Shui Ying were even more stunned, blinking constantly, but no matter how he blinked, the picture in front of him remained unchanged. It's no ninja who can be as good as my master, but was killed by the gentle wind. And what's the matter with the fire escape of the wind? It can't even be extinguished by the water of the first generation Shui Ying. The next 3 generations of Shui Ying will stand in place, and the brain will be in chaos. He could not understand and could not accept the facts before him. Although he is very likely to become the next generation of Water Shadow, he is still very weak compared to Ghost Lantern Huan Yu. In other words, Wu's strength is stronger than himself. The result is such a result in front of the breeze. That kid, isn't he only 8 years old? For a time, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying only felt that their worldview was about to collapse. He always thought that after the death of Zhu Jian, Jian was the most powerful ninja in Konoha Yin village. It was also his #1 enemy to invade Konoha this time. As a result, I never thought that Konoha's true powerhouse was actually an 8-year-old kid called Hefeng. What a gaffe, Shihei. Advertisement. Only a fierce fight, could not help but complain about Shihei and Wu's performance. I thought you two could work together to get rid of the harmony easily. However, Lidu complained about it. But in my heart, he was also shocked by the gentle performance. Until now, he still remembers Hefeng's performance on the Zongnan exam. Defeated the scariest genius in the history of Cheyenne village. The next 3 generations of Fengying. It is also the strongest wind shadow in the history of Cheyenne village. Although the Japanese-style performance at that time was already amazing, compared to now, they are like 2 people. From Lidu's point of view, Hefeng has undergone earth-shaking changes in the past 6 months. Moreover, in just half a year, he was. How did it do it? Incredible. It's hard to imagine. It must be here to completely solve this kid, and we must never give him a chance to continue to grow. Fierce fighting is sure in my heart. And Balian's water breakthrough also began to dissipate at this time. Wu's body fell heavily to the ground until it was burned out by the sky. It hurts, Hefeng murmured in his heart, and then closed his left eye, and blood flowed down the corner of his eye. But, there is no doubt that without the last bit of chakra, it will disappear. Do not. Chakra is not the only one who disappeared, and there is nothing left, as well as his corpse. Amaterasu's fire gradually weakened until it disappeared completely. What is left on the ground is just burned ashes that can no longer be burned. Well known, develop the dusty nothing, just like this. Even the scum left by the wind seconds. When he landed on his feet and stood firm. An invisible sense of oppression swept across in all directions. Every ninja present could not help thinking of the same thing. Hefeng, an 8-year-old kid, is definitely the most scariest monster ever. Yes, it is. There are only 2 words like monster, which can be used to describe him. Gentle style. He gritted his teeth, furious. The error-free chapters of I Become Naruto at the Age of 8 will continue to be updated on the novel website. There are no advertisements in the site. Please also collect and recommend the novel. Chapter 370, A Consistent Hand to Kill the First Generation of Soil Shadows. Advertisement. Seeing that his disciple was burned by the gentle wind, there was no ashes left. He was furious, and controlled the rock giant to grab it toward the wind. Is it the first generation toying? Feeling the pressure swept over him, Hefeng immediately turned around and faced the falling fist of the rock giant. Not only that, Shihei also resorted to the technique of super heavy rock, attacking Hefeng with the rock giant. On the contrary, Bai Lian fought fiercely, and seemed not interested in this battle. Just use ordinary water escape to follow the wind to carry out feint attacks. Of course, as the shadow of the establishment of Shinobu Village, the amount of chakra that the 2 of them owns is naturally very majestic. The ninjutsu performed is several times more exaggerated than the average ninja. Is this the strength of the shadow? The Sarutobi Hizen tightened his nerves. As a genius of the Sarutobi clan, he had a chakra volume that was incomprehensible to ordinary people since he was a child. Coupled with the 5 chakra attributes, he quickly accumulates prestige among the younger generation. But compared with the White Lotus, fierce fighting, and Shihei in front of me, his ninjutsu seemed very ordinary. However, today's Sarutobi Hizen has a very strong feeling in his heart. That is, he doesn't think the piece will lose. This feeling is very strong, even in the face of Shihei, fierce fighting, and Bai Lian, the legends of establishing Shinobu Village. He doesn't think he will lose in peace. In an instant, Hefeng decisively chose to shoot. When things got to this point, he didn't bother to continue inking. The 7th door, start the door, open. With a burst of breeze, the green energy covering his whole body suddenly changed. From green to blue. Surprisingly, it is evaporated sweat. Suddenly, Hefeng's momentum changed drastically. If it weren't for the load of the kaleidoscope writing round eyes too much, if I really want to use Amaterasu to solve the remaining shadows. Lest someone dig it out for them in the future. Hefeng complained in my heart. But his hands are clean and neat. Of course, when Hefeng opened the 7th door of the 8-gate Dunjia, all the shadows present took a breath. Among them, no one has ever seen such a chakra form. Hello, how many types of ninjutsu does this kid master? Lidu spit out angrily. He still remembers the scene of the Zongan exam 6 months ago. The breeze at that time was by no means as scary as it is now. Advertisement. Besides, isn't Hefeng only 8 years old? His talent really has no upper limit at all. Any ninjutsu can be learned at a glance. Does he think he is a copy ninja? Lei Dun Chakra Mode. However, after using the Immortal Mode and Baman Dunjia in succession, Hefeng directly enters the Thunder Dun Chakra Mode. The 3 forms complement each other. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Finally aim at the rock giant. Thunder Tiger. There was another burst of shout, and the gentle wind slammed the fist that fell from the rock giant and slammed it up. The fist wind lifted the air, and the majestic chakra burst out, forming a blue air bomb, transforming it into the appearance of a tiger. He opened his blood basin and opened his mouth, soaring into the sky. Clash with the fist of the rock giant. Rumble. Accompanied by loud noises, the power of this chakra gas bomb acted on the rock giant's arm. The crack was shocking, spreading towards the whole body of the rock giant. In an instant, it spread all over the rock giant's body. Before Tying Shihei could react, the huge rock giant collapsed on the spot. Transformed into ruins. Is that a lie? For a while, he was dumbfounded on the spot. He never dreamed that his strongest ninjutsu would be broken by a punch by the wind. There is also the ninjutsu feint of Balian fighting fiercely. All of them were dodged by the breeze instantaneous technique. No one can attack him at all. It is no exaggeration to say that the current Hefeng is far superior to everyone present. With a swish, the gentle breeze flashed directly behind Tying Shihei. In order to make sure that Shihei wouldn't use any strange ninjutsu to avoid his attacks, Hefeng patted his shoulder specially, leaving the Fei Lei Shen Shu style on it. Today's toying Shihei is still the image of an old man. The body is obviously aging. Really speaking of strength, the current first-generation toying is not at all comparable to the Wu who has already developed the dust. Of course, Hefeng will naturally not show mercy to Tying Shihei's old age. In any case, the instigator of this war is Yinyan Village. It's the earth shadow of his Yinyan Village. Konoha Hidden Village is just a legitimate defense. Moreover, Shihei did not release water just because he was an 8-year-old child. With the move just now, he burst out with a strong killing intent. It's over, Shihei. Advertisement. The sound of gentle breeze came from behind Shihei, frightening him to turn around quickly. Immediately afterwards, Shihei felt the murderous aura bursting from Hefeng. Sweat beads could not help but burst out from his forehead. Ashamed. Click. However, Shihei turned so suddenly that his waist twisted at this moment. The intense pain made him clench his teeth instantly. The brain is blank. Even the ninjutsu such as instantaneous technique and substitute technique that could be used cannot be used. Hell stab, a consistent hand. The gentle breeze aimed directly at the heart of Shihei, and stretched out the index finger of his right hand, with an aura like a rainbow, piercing towards Shihei. Rumble. The thunder was deafening, as if swatting flies, suitable for knocking down the earth's shadows from the air. The shock wave with thunder and lightning spread out in all directions. Let every shadow retreat again and again. The place where Shihei hit his back was even more directly smashed into a big hole. It took about half a minute before the shock gradually subsided. Lido and Bai Lian looked at each other, couldn't help but rolled their throats, looking nervously at the deep pit that the wind had blasted out. The Earth's shadow stone river is inlaid in the very center. Lying there on all sides, his eyes gradually lost their light. A hollow is penetrated through the left chest, and the front and back are translucent. The heart of Shihei disappeared directly. No doubt he will die. This. Sarutobi Hero stared at the scene in the pit dumbfounded, not knowing whether to be shocked or sympathetic. Or both. The ninja who can calm the troubled times and build a ninja village will naturally not be a mediocre generation. However, such an existence was killed by Hefeng on the spot. How strong is the current Hefeng? He is only 8 years old this year. Sarutobi cut a breath of cold air from the corner of his mouth, not shocked enough in his heart, raised his head, and looked at the gentle breeze that was stagnating in the air and slowly falling. He not only sympathized with Tying Shihei, but also sympathized with the entire Yenian village. It just happened to encounter such an unreasonable monster like Hefeng. What do you say you are all right to provoke him? Such a serious injury, even if it is toying, it is impossible to survive. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hizen looked at Shui Ying and Feng Ying. Chapter 371 I am in a good mood. Advertisement. Although the enemy is resolved as something to be happy about, but this. Sarutobi Hizen looked at Dokuja Shihei who was killed by the wind. If you are happy, if the enemy is resolved, it is naturally something to be happy about. But to be honest, Sarutobi Hizen never dreamed of facing the first generation Dokage. Hefeng will win so easily. I thought Hefeng would calmly analyze, slowly find out the weakness of the enemy, and then defeat the opponent in one fell swoop. But the facts are quite the opposite. In the face of the strong gentle breeze, Tying Shihei has almost no capital to fight back. The current Zephyr, I am afraid that it has not been able to compare with Master Zujian. In Sarutobi's mind, he couldn't help but think of the man who was once called the god of ninjas. In fact, it's not just Sarutobi Hitoshi. Even the room next to him had the same reaction. Do not. Right now, it was far more shocked than Sarutobi Rishi. As the agent of the second generation of Hokage, when Konoha was invaded in Yenian Village, Sheian Village, and Wuin Village, he was the first to stand up and led the ninja to resist. For the strength of these people like Shihei, no one knows better than Jian. Even if it's me, I can't even find any chance to fight back from these ninjas. Rolling his throat between the pages, he couldn't help but sigh. The reason why he said this is not humble, but the emotion from the heart. If it weren't for the gentle breeze, I would definitely be killed by these shadows just now. Brother, have you seen that? Hefeng not only inherited your power, but he is slowly surpassing you. Fei Jian muttered to herself in her heart. In his opinion, it is only a matter of time that Hefeng surpasses the pillars and becomes the next ninja god. Even, at this moment, I couldn't help but sympathize with Yenian village. Not only lost the first generation of Earth Shadow in this battle, but also lost Wu who can inherit the position of Earth Shadow. The future of Yenian village will definitely not be better. Do not. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but shook his head. Yenian village has lost 2 shadow-level powerhouses one after another. After today, it is hard to say whether they will be one of the 5 great ninja villages. To blame, I can only blame Shihei, that guy in his age. Lido's eyes condensed slightly, looking at the dying Shihei, who was about to die, couldn't help but say. The thunder dance ninjutsu that Hefeng just used is really amazing. The power is even more exaggerated than the wind ninjutsu. However, advertisement. If it weren't for Shihei's getting older, he would have sprained his waist at a critical moment. His final ending may not be so. To blame, I can only blame Shihei himself. But then again, this kid Hefeng is really eye-opening. Lido retracted his gaze from Shihei, and turned to Hefeng in a blink of an eye. If he let go of the wind here today, he will definitely become the most terrifying existence in the ninja world in the future. At only 8 years old, he mastered such terrible ninjutsu. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. And eliminated the 2 masters of Yenian village. This kid is indeed a rare genius. It's a pity that the stronger Hefeng's performance, the less reason he can let him go. Thinking of this, Lido began to move his muscles and bones, and was ready to fight with the wind. Suddenly, a strong murderous aura burst out from Lido, spreading in all directions. But, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying changed his face. Seeing Shihei's tragic situation, he couldn't help frowning. As a younger generation, and also a candidate for Shuiying in the future, he has neither the arrogance of the original Shuiying nor the arrogance of a ghostly lantern. Although I didn't want to admit it, the strength of Hefeng did far exceed their expectations. In terms of personal strength, Hefeng is probably the most terrifying among the ninjas present. Rao is himself and cannot be compared. If you continue to fight, I'm afraid I will end up like Shihei, no one else. Thinking of this, the next 3 generations of Shuiying moved and walked to Shuiying Balian's side. Master Shuiying. The next 3 generations of Shuiying deliberately lowered his voice. In my opinion, it is better to retreat. After careful consideration, the next 3 generations of Shuiying came to this conclusion. However, not only did Bai Lian not approve of his remarks, but the other party's eyes were greatly rolled. To shut up, Bai Lian said angrily. Although the scene of Hefeng just killing Shihei, it shocked his heart to a great extent. But as the first generation of Water Shadow in Wuyin village, he didn't plan to flee in such a place. Moreover, Hefeng is just an 8-year-old kid after all. Even if he could kill Shihei, he would never be his opponent. Yes, it is. Ninjas who can build a ninja village are naturally heroes in troubled times. They often have great confidence in their own strength. Even to the point of being somewhat conceited. Advertisement. This is the case with Balian. He looked towards Hefeng and stared at the 8-year-old kid, also exuding murderous aura. It seems to be shot at any time. On the contrary, it was a gentle wind, facing the murderous aura of Li Do and Bai Lian at the same time. He didn't care. It just fell in the air, and then walked towards Shihei in diameter. For the characters in Naruto, most Japanese styles admire them very much. Although Shihei didn't make many appearances, he taught Onoki what is the will of stone. From a certain perspective, Shihei is also a very interesting old man. I saw 3 steps and 2 steps. Before he lost consciousness completely, he walked to his side. Of course, in order to ensure that his consistent hand attacked Shihei, Hefeng also used a kaleidoscope to write round eyes to confirm. Do you have anything else to say? Hefeng squatted down, his voice low. It can be regarded as listening to Shihei's last words. It's just that Shihei now can't make a sound anymore. Hefeng's consistent hand opened a big hole in his left chest, causing the majestic thunder and lightning to flow into Shihei's body. Burn all his other organs, including the throat. At this time, Shihei could only watch Hefeng. But there is no hint of reconciliation. In the end, as time passed, Shihei's eyes gradually lost their only light. Hefeng's eyes narrowed slightly, stretched out his right palm, and closed Shihei's eyes. I can consider letting you go. That's all. Another enemy is solved. This is the first generation of Toying who established Yanyan village. Hefeng looked at the 2 directly and asked calmly. Does any of you want to surrender? Then, died in the hands of Hefeng. Before I get started, I have a question I want to ask you. On the contrary, in Shihei's eyes, he was only angry and dissatisfied with Hefeng. How? Hefeng slowly got up and turned to look at Lidu and Balian. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Take advantage of my good mood now. No matter how you say it, I am not a demon. If you choose to surrender. Then the pupils began to expand. Chapter 372 Shock. The wind of the wind is stronger than the wind of the wind. Advertisement. It seems that you are very confident of your own strength, kid. After hearing Hefeng's words, Fengying Raidu couldn't help but froze for a while, but he quickly recovered his calm. Now, he doesn't want to fall short in such a place. And, Shihei and Wudu in Yanyan village were wiped out by the gentle wind. For him, it wasn't necessarily bad news. At first I was thinking about how to obtain greater benefits in this war. It seems that I no longer need to think about that headache. Lido's gaze was slightly fixed, and he stared directly at the wind. Since the Shihei in Yanyan village, Wudu has been wiped out. Naturally, no one would compete with him for loot. If he could, he hoped that Hefeng could kill another Water Shadow White Lotus. In the end, it is up to you to finish it off and get rid of the harmony. In this way, he was the biggest winner of this first ninja battle. It is worth mentioning that the allies who joined forces to invade Konoha Yin village and attempt to shred this Shinin village are not only Yan Yin village, Sha Yin village and Wu Yin village. There is also Union village. However, until now, the second generation Lei Ying and his Yun Ren have not appeared. There is only one possibility that Lidu can think of. Before I do it, let me ask you a question, kid. Lidu took a step forward and slowly raised his right arm. You stopped the guy from the second generation of Raikage, right? In addition, there is another very important reason why the fierce fighting attitude is so resolute. He has been using ninjutsu of mass destruction since the Japanese style appeared on the stage. The technique of the wooden man. Suzuo Nengu. Magnetic escape dust gold. Lei Dun chakra mode. There is also the Thunder Tiger of 8 Dunjia. Although Thunder Tiger is nothing more than the fist of thunder, in the eyes of others, it is like a chakra gas bullet. Hefeng is only 8 years old this year, and his body does not have that much chakra support. If I am not mistaken, the current Zephyr is mostly bluffing. Lidu couldn't help thinking in his heart. If it were not for bluffing, why did he suddenly propose to stop the war? If you change to yourself, you still have enough strength to continue fighting. We'll surely take advantage of the victory. Yes, it is. Advertisement. Although Hefeng is only 8 years old, he hasn't acted like an 8-year-old kid since his debut. On the contrary, if it is not for the real age of Hefeng and his appearance in advance, I am afraid that I would doubt whether this guy Hefeng was the adult ninja who used the transformation technique to become. Based on these and other thoughts, Lidu finally came to a conclusion. Gentle, it's just a bluff. Without waiting for Hefeng to answer Lido's question, he took the lead in biting his index finger, quickly forming a seal with both hands, and finally patted the ground. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Psychic art. With a bang, a cloud of white smoke exploded from the palm of the hand, spreading in all directions. A sickle weasel with a similar size and fierce battle appeared impressively, holding a sharp sickle nearly 2 meters long in his hand. There is a silver golden luster on it. Looking at the self-talking, and quite confident Feng fight, Hefeng couldn't help but shook his head, looking quite a headache. Obviously, I have given you a chance. Too many people have died in this war today. Coupled with the plentiful spoils this time, Hefeng's mood is really good, only thinking that if the rest of the movie is willing to surrender, he is not willing to kill a few more lives. However, Feng fights fiercely, but it is stubborn. Thinking of this, Hefeng did not intend to be merciful anymore. The index and middle fingers of his 2 hands were brought together and then crossed together, like a cross. Shadow clone technique. Bang, bang. There are also 2 white clouds of smoke. The difference is that Hefeng's physical clone appears next to him. At the same time, Feng Lidu exuded a majestic murderous aura and ordered Kan Itachi to attack. And he quickly formed seals and used the strongest Feng ninjutsu ever. At least in Lidu's heart, his wind escape is the strongest in the ninja world. Wind escape Great Tornado Hurricane. Following the fierce fighting to complete the final seal, the majestic chakra burst out of him. The giant tornado skyrocketed, making the sky dim. The flying sand and rocks on the battlefield looked terrifying. This ninjutsu can not only make fire escape, sound, and bomb ninjutsu all ineffective. It can also form a vacuum airflow to launch an indiscriminate knife attack on the enemy. Extremely sharp. From Lidu's point of view, it was already a bluff and wind, and he couldn't stop his ninjutsu at all. Everything is over. Advertisement. I am the biggest winner of this war. Lidu roared loudly, and put all his bets on the future of Cheyenne Village this time. However, Hefeng completed his own wind escape through the cooperation of the shadow clone technique. The most important thing is that Lidu's estimate is completely wrong. Although Hefeng is only 8 years old this year, he has a chakra between columns. It is not an ordinary ninja at all, it can be imagined and compared. Even with such exaggerated ninjutsu one after another, the current Japanese style still has sufficient chakra volume. Wind escape spiral shuriken. In an instant, Hefeng threw Feng Dun's spiral shuriken directly. Rao is the fierce battle of Feng Dun, and it is impossible for such a high-density Feng Dun ninjutsu to fail. In an instant, the wind escape spiral shuriken broke through the vacuum airflow created by the Great Tornado Hurricane. As for the fierce fighting psychic beast, Scythe, he was directly kicked into the air by the gentle breeze. In any case, Hefeng is now in the 7th gate of the 8th gate Dunjia, and its speed is even more exaggerated than Shaoli. It's over. Fierce fighting. The gentle breeze has a low voice. How come? I saw Lido's eyes widened, and there were incredible gazes in his eyes. What's the situation? Amidst the shock, there is a more important issue that lies in front of the fierce fighting. But, why? It's Konoha. Moreover, the wind escape ninjutsu of the wind is even more unheard of than he has seen. Than me, my own legs seemed to be rooted on the ground, unable to move. I was surprised to see that the gentle breeze of dust rushed out of the ground at some point, and bound his legs firmly. Why is it the enemy of Cheyenne Village? Otherwise, you might die. But who knows, just as Lidu reacted in time and wanted to dodge, he suddenly discovered. Looking at the wind escape spiral shuriken rushing towards him, Lido couldn't help feeling full of emotions in his heart. There is also a powerful wind escape ninjutsu. He never dreamed that as Feng Ying himself, he would lose to the opponent in the best Feng Dun ninjutsu. Lido's expression suddenly changed, and he quickly looked down. That is, he must get out of this ninjutsu. Why was a genius like Hefeng born in Konoha? Chapter 373 Feng Ying's tragic death. Advertisement. Oops. Looking at the feet bound by the dust, Lidu looked shocked. His attention was focused on the Japanese style in his ninjutsu, so that he had no time to take care of the condition of his feet. The legs were firmly imprisoned by dust gold, as if rooting and sprouting. Very strong. In the face of the oncoming wind escape spiral shuriken, fierce fighting can only use ninjutsu to defend. However, his Jayan speed is far less rapid than Feng Dun's spiral shuriken. Boom. Accompanied by a loud noise, the wind escape spiral shuriken hit Lidu's abdomen in an instant. Immediately afterwards, the wind escape spiral shuriken erupted on the spot, forming an energy storm that enveloped the fierce battle. In an instant, thousands of wind blades would attack the fierce fighting. Destroy all the cells in his body. And the big tornado hurricane he released before, also disappeared. Hefeng will have a panoramic view of this scene. A body like the 3 generations of Hokage, not everyone can have it. Most ninjas, including some strong shadow-level players, simply can't bear the wind escape spiral shuriken head-on, and they are safe and sound. This wind escape. Bai Lian's face turned pale afterwards. The main reason why he released his murderous aura to Hefeng was mainly because of the idea of similar to fierce fighting. In his cognition, the amount of chakras of any ninja cannot be infinite. Not to mention that Hefeng is just an 8-year-old kid. Which level of ninjutsu is used in succession, his chakra should be very small. That's why it pretended to be momentum. As a result, Bai Lian never thought of it. The current Japanese style not only has chakras, but also very rich. The wind escape spiral shuriken that comes into view is a good proof. The scale of the energy storm is quite exaggerated, it looks at least nearly 50 meters in diameter. The most important thing is that when Hefeng uses the wind escape spiral shuriken, Bai Lian feels the terrifying density in it. It simply subverted his understanding of Feng Dun ninjutsu. It's no exaggeration to say that in Bai Lian's cognition, Kazuka has just used Feng Du ninja. It was the most exaggerated and terrifying wind he had ever seen in his life. Wind escape spiral shuriken. Bai Lian couldn't help but chant the name of this ninjutsu. For a while, the envy, jealousy and hatred of Hefeng spontaneously grew in his heart. It lasted about half a minute before the energy storm caused by the wind escape spiral shuriken gradually subsided. Lidu lay in the center of the pit, his eyes widened and panting. The dust under my feet is gone. However, it was not because Hefeng had lifted this restraint, but because the destructive power of the Fengdun spiral shuriken was too strong, it wiped out the placer gold. Advertisement. Not dead. Hefeng's eyes narrowed slightly, staring directly at the scene in the pit. He originally thought that Fengying Lidu would be directly beheaded by himself. Unexpectedly, his vitality is stronger than he thought. But, Hefeng soon let go. Probably because Lidu is good at the relationship between wind and escape. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hefeng vaguely remembered that the reason why the corner was not killed by himself was because of the heart of Feng escape. It offsets the most critical damage. Presumably, the current fierce battle should be the same as the situation in Jiaodu. Of course, the current breeze is not soft-hearted. An instantaneous spell, Hefeng disappeared in place, and appeared directly beside Fengying Lidu. Do you have any last words? Hefeng looked down at Fengying fiercely, with a low voice. At the same time, a light blue chakra burst out of Hefeng's hand, which began to flow in an irregular direction. Spiral pill. Hefeng doesn't catch a cold with fierce fighting, so naturally he won't let him go at this time. However, the injuries on Lido's body were too serious, and he was already quite tenacious if he could be dying. He just looked at Hefeng with hatred. It seems to be saying that one day, Cheyenne village will completely wipe out Konoha. The eyes of the two faced each other, but the corners of the mouth rose up, and a smile appeared. Then he aimed at Fengying Lidu's heart and slammed it down directly. Helix Maru exploded on Lidu's body, severely injuring his heart, and let Lidu's last breath slip through his mouth. Both eyes widened, and his pupils expanded. Gradually there is no breath of life. Another movie-class powerhouse, killed on the spot. All the people present took a breath. Although Wu has not yet carried the name of Earth Shadow, everyone present recognizes his strength. To be sure that he will become a second-generation Soil Shadow is just a matter of time. In addition, Shihei and the fierce fighting two people. In a short period of time, Hefeng has eliminated the three strong Shadow-level players. This kind of thing has simply subverted everyone's cognition. No matter how monsters and winds are, there should be a limit, right? Gentle style. I can't remember how many times I have been shocked by the gentle wind. Although he thought about it, Hefeng's strength is so powerful that he can't even compare it to himself. Advertisement. If it's a gentle breeze, he can definitely become a Konoha hero, turning the tide in this first battle in the ninja world. But, he never dreamed that his ideal of turning the tide would turn out to be such a scene. From beginning to end, Hefeng maintained a high profile, without a trace of embarrassment. Moreover, there was no other attack. In other words, this also means that Hefeng's current strength far surpasses those of the strongest in their own cognition. Hefeng, what are you? Rolling his throat in the middle, he swallowed nervously. There was a stormy sea in my heart, and I couldn't calm down for a long time. Outrageous. It's too ridiculous. Hefeng is only 8 years old this year. The Sarutobi Hizen rubbed his eyes vigorously, seriously wondering if he had any hallucinations. Otherwise, how to explain this scene? Even he can't help but doubt life. What is the meaning of his own existence? Do not. It's not just yourself. Konoha's ninjas, what is the point of existence? For a perverted monster like Hefeng, does he really need any companions? No need. Sarutobi Hitoshi took a breath, and he already had an answer in his heart. On the contrary, he even felt that for Hefeng, he would be stronger without a companion. Because in that way, he doesn't need to care about the safety of his companions. The remaining Shuiying Balian was even more stunned at this time, and his brain was blank. Standing in a daze for a long time. According to his original plan, he planned to join forces with the fierce battle to eliminate the wind. Result. I haven't waited for myself to react. Lidu is dead. It's too weak. Do not. How can a ninja who can become Fenkage be weak? Obviously he is the little devil, he is too strong. It's too strong. This kid is like a character like the 6 immortals in the legend. For a moment, Bai Lian couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Chapter 374 Kill Shui Ying again. Advertisement. Grunt. Looking at the gentle breeze turning around to look at her, Bai Lian couldn't help her expression becoming tense. He is indeed the first generation of Shui Ying to build Wuyin village, but in terms of strength, he doesn't think he will be stronger than other shadows. Moreover, even his prediction of Hefeng was wrong. I thought Hefeng, the kid, didn't have much chakra volume, but I didn't expect it. Fighting still died tragically in Hefeng's hands. The wind dance spiral shuriken used by Hefeng to defeat the fierce fighting made Bai Lian even more stunned. It even subverted his common sense cognition. If you continue to fight with the wind, you Will definitely die here. This feeling is very strong. He didn't want to fight against monsters like Hefeng at all. Bai Lian's voice was trembling, and he is now a young man. It stands to reason that Wuyin village should be entrusted to the next generation to die bravely. However, once he died here, it would only plunge Wuyin village into a greater crisis. He, the first generation of Shuiying Balian, did not live for himself. It is out of consideration for the interests of the village. Although this kind of thing made Bai Lian feel a little desperate, he still trembling in his voice and said this. Our Misty village chooses to surrender. Bai Lian's voice was not loud, but it still reached the ears of everyone present. The next 3 generations of Shuiying were dumbfounded, and were unexpected for this sudden scene. But soon, the next 3 generations of Shuiying felt a sense of relief. Wise choice. However, Hefeng did not choose to let the Water Shadow Balian go. Because he was just giving Bai Lian a chance to fight, the 2 of them personally chose to give up. And so, the first generation of Water Shadow must die. Thinking of this, Hefeng directly raised his arm and aimed his palm at the Water Shadow Balian. Next second, the gold dust at Balian's feet rose to the sky. Before he could react, he quickly swallowed his body. After a second, only Bai Lian's voice echoed in the crowd. And his body was directly wrapped in gentle gold dust. It looks like a sand dune 4 to 5 meters high. What are you doing? In desperation, the next 3 generations of Shuiying blurted out. Advertisement. Questioning the breeze loudly. Obviously, Balian, as a water shadow, has decided to surrender. Why does this fellow Hefeng want to make a move? However, today's breeze, there will listen to the words of the next 3 generations of Shuiying. His killing intent has been decided. Naturally, he will not be merciful. What's more, it was Shuiying Bai Lian who burst out of murderous aura first. Sand-bound Hazel. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hefeng clenched his fists and squeezed the weight of the gold dust towards Bai Lian. The white lotus, which is now sealed in placer gold, can't make the seal at all. And placer gold is different from ordinary sand. Even when encountering oil and other substances, Bai Lian could not escape. Bang! With a muffled noise, all the gold dust squeezed towards the white lotus. The sand dune, which was originally 2 or 3 meters wide, was instantly reduced by a factor of 2. There was even Balian's call that made people feel numb in the scalp. The last first-generation movie in the 5 ninja village. In this way, he died tragically in the hands of Hefeng. Immediately afterwards, the gold dust slowly flowed downwards, exposing Balian's body. Bai Lian's facial features are not only distorted and hideous, but there is no bone in the whole body, which can withstand this force. In any case, Bai Lian's physical strength is not very strong in the first place, plus his advanced age. It is not a strange thing to be squeezed to death by the power of gold dust now. On the contrary, it is the next 3 generations of Shuiying, staring at the tragic death of Balian, with a mixed mood. He originally thought that Shuiying Balian could survive after choosing to surrender. Unexpectedly, this fellow Hefeng would be so decisive. Moreover, cruel, as this guy really only 8 years old. The next 3 generations of Shuiying can't help asking themselves. The big heart of the wind can be described as horror. Not far away, Sarutobi Hizen couldn't help taking a breath, and looked at Bai Lian's body in disbelief. I was shocked by the gentle breeze again. It's really neat. Did not give Shuiying Bai Lian a chance to fight back. Hefeng, this guy is really horrible. Gentle style. The room on the side was completely relaxed, and the whole person sat paralyzed on the ground. Although the scene where Hefeng forcefully kills Bai Lian at the end made him unexpected, for Konoha Yin village, Hefeng's decision was obviously correct. Only the most severe damage to these ninja villages. In order to ensure that they will not make a comeback in a short time. Advertisement. Yes, it is. For a ninja like Shuima. He didn't feel that there was anything wrong with Hefeng's approach. On the contrary, he couldn't think of a more secure method than this. And, there is one thing that is very certain and need not be questioned. That is, Hefeng, the kid, is undoubtedly the hero of Konoha Hidden Village. Without him, Konoha Hidden Village would never be safe in this battle of ninja world. It's a gentle breeze, when Konoha Hidden Village is at stake, try to turn the tide. He is the hero of Konoha. Perhaps, Hefeng is more suitable to be the shadow of the village than me. For a time, I couldn't help thinking in my heart. Even Janjian firmly believes that anyone who has witnessed Hefeng's true strength will not have any doubts about him becoming Hokage. A strong and unprecedented idea came to life spontaneously in my heart. Perhaps, I can completely rely on this opportunity to push Hefeng to the position of Naruto. Anyway, I didn't take Hokage's name seriously. As long as he can serve the village and do things, it is enough. I will become the root. Nourish the leaves like this. At the same time, Hefeng directly ignored the changes in Feijian and Rizen's expressions, and focused his attention on the next 3 generations of Shuiying in front of him. The 2 sides face each other. On the contrary, he asked with interest. Why, do you still want to continue fighting? A simple sentence immediately calmed down the angry 3 generations of Shuiying. Although I don't want to admit it, but, with his current strength, he is not a gentleman's opponent at all. Whether it is the first generation of Water Shadow White Lotus, or the future second generation of Water Shadow, Ghost Lamp Magic Moon. The strength is far above him. If you fight with the wind here, there will only be one consequence. That is death. Although he is not afraid of death, Doing so will only make his own death beyond doubt. In the end, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying, who once lost his mind, completely calmed down. He watched the gentle breeze for a long time. No. In the end, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying shook his head. With my current strength, it is not your opponent at all. I surrender. In desperation, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying had no choice but to say so. Chapter 375. The war is over. Advertisement. Even if the fight continues, it will only increase casualties. With the successive deaths of the first generations like Shihei, Lidu, and Balian, the Yinyan village, Shayan village, and Wuyin village that formed the alliance directly lost their highest combat power. The wisest and most correct approach is now. It was in this first ninja world war. Choose to surrender. And as the next 3 generations of Shui Ying announced it loudly to all the ninjas in the hidden village of Mist. Every Wu Ren could not help but wonder if he had heard something wrong. You know, Wuyin village has always been famous for the existence of ninjas for fighting to the end. It is incredible for them to surrender to the enemy on the battlefield. At the same time, they are also puzzled by the decisions of the next 3 generations of Water Shadow. But in any case, the first generation of Shui Ying Balian died in battle, and the next 3 generations of Shui Ying will naturally become the second only to the elders in Wuyin village. And those elders wouldn't be on the battlefield like Elder Yun Ren. They have always paid attention to secrecy. Will not easily expose oneself to the sight of others. Faced with the decision of the next 3 generations of Water Shadow, although these ninjas were dissatisfied and doubtful, they temporarily stopped their attack on Konoha Hidden Village. Actually, if it weren't for being forced into helplessness, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying would not want to be like that. For this invasion operation, Wuyin village sent thousands of ninjas. Different from Union village. Although Wuyin village is also one of the 5 great ninja villages, they themselves are ninjas living in the mountains. In terms of numbers, there is still a slight gap between Muyayan village and Union village. If you continue to fight, once all the remaining Wu Ren is wiped out, it will be an unprecedented blow to Wu Hidden village. Don't mention the names of the 5 ninja villages then. I am afraid that even some small countries can annihilate them. After some trade-offs, the next 3 generations of Shui Ying had to make such a decision. At the same time, the battlefield was declared over. After thinking about the ninjas in Yinyan village and Shayan village, they decided to follow the example of Wuyin village. Announce surrender here. The heart of each ninja was shocked by the powerful strength of the wind. This kind of shock made them lose their intent to fight for a while. Of course, the most important reason was that after Hefeng solved the White Lotus, he directly formed the seal with both hands, releasing the technique of multiple shadow clones. In an instant, thousands of Hefeng appeared on the battlefield. Thinking of his feat just now. Kill 3 first-generation movies in a row. There is no such ninja who has the courage to fight against the wind. Not, is it over? Advertisement. These guys chose to surrender. Konoha ninja stood still on the spot. From the outbreak of the war to the present, they really thought they were finished for a while. Even prepared for the worst and died on the battlefield. After all, they were once given high hopes, facing 5 strong men with shadow-level strength. Also fell into a disadvantage. There is not even the slightest chance to fight back. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. This kind of thing undoubtedly hit every ninja's heart severely. However, with the emergence of the gentle breeze, the whole situation began to reverse. The most terrifying thing is that this guy Hefeng didn't win the final victory through a hard fight. But from the beginning, it showed a crushing posture. Whether it is the shadow of Yinyan village, Shayan village, or Wuyin village, in front of the gentle wind, there is no chance to fight back. Especially the gentle clothes, even if the battle is over, his clothes are still spotless. It's like brand new. This terrible power has simply subverted everyone's cognition present. Victory. In the crowd, I didn't know that Konoha ninja suddenly shouted. Subsequently, the emotions of each Konoha ninja were driven by this voice. They won. It was Konoha Hidden Village, who won the first Ninja World War. And there is no doubt that the one who leads them to this final victory is undoubtedly a gentleman. Thousand hands and wind. Suddenly, an extremely loud voice erupted from the crowd, calling out Hefeng's name. Thousand hands and wind. Thousand hands and wind. In any case, this war is not only about the life and death of these ninjas, but also about the fate of Konoha Yin village. Everyone's nerves are tense. Until the enemies who invaded the village announced their surrender, and their tense nerves were relieved and relaxed. And this kind of emotion, they naturally need a way to vent out thoroughly. Calling Hefeng's name is their way of venting their emotions. As for the Yinyan village, Sandian village, and the remaining ninjas in Wuyin village. He was ashamed, and there was a trace of despair in his eyes. Before this, no one had thought of it. They and Ninja village jointly invade, and they will eventually end in failure. Coupled with the death of the first generation movies. Advertisement. Not only did they lose this war, but they also lost miserably. A complete failure. Those Konoha ninjas shouted the name of Japanese wind, and they heard it so far away. The spirits of these ninjas all began to trance. It was in sharp contrast with the situation of Konoha ninja at this moment. Seeing the scene in front of him, Feijian felt incredible in his heart. Although he had long thought about it, Konoha's ninja would one day call such a Japanese name. Think of him as the eldest brother between the pillars, no. It should be said that it is the Hokage who surpassed the eldest brother column and pushed the village to its heyday. Feijian is convinced of this. Because Hefeng not only has the terrible talent to surpass the eldest brother Zujian, but also has a mind that even he can't match. But, there was absolutely no expectation that this scene would come so suddenly and so quickly. Only in the year Hefeng was 8 years old, he accomplished this achievement. Be regarded as a hero by the ninjas in the village. Yup, big brother, have you seen it? Our grandson Hefeng is now the hero of the village. His strength has far surpassed you. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. In the cracks of hell. I'm fine, Uchiha Madara muttered to himself, feeling incredible in his heart. In order to make sure that he would not obstruct his plan, Uchiha Madara decided to eliminate the wind. The little devil Hefeng actually defeated those old guys. Seeing this, Sarutobi Hizen quickly rushed over, trying to help him. At the same time, even the look he looked at Hefeng was full of pampering and anticipation. It surprised me that, the art of elephant turn. Then, he glanced at every ninja in the room again, follow-up work, there are many more. However, he didn't plan to just look at the wind and become Konoha's hero. Uchiha Madara has been paying attention to this war through Shirazu's mayfly art. But, standing on his knees, he stood up from the ruins. The result was a refusal. Fei Jian said softly, the corners of his mouth gradually rose, and a smile appeared.